How do you own the day in sports? You make incredible plays. How do the rest of us own the day? With Irish Spring. Fresh, clean Irish Spring scent and those sensational Irish Spring suds. You know what I'm talking about. It's like the perfect morning reset. You leave the shower all geared up, make today a grand slam or a slam dunk. Whatever sport you're into right now. When the spring hits you, you're ready. So pick up Irish Spring today. Show sponsored by BetterHelp. A therapist can help you map out the life path you really want, so you trust yourself to make great choices. Feel excited about the future. BetterHelp offers convenient professional online therapy on your schedule by phone, chat, or video call. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/herd. Sign up today. 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/herd.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte PE 659,993, MSRP 22,540, Nero P 501,5237, MSRP 41,390, EV6 P 560, 3393, MSRP 50,200, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for details, offer valid through 9523. Dealer stock only, warranties a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
I got Jeff Allen on the line. Hey, what's the scoop over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Randy, we got deals everyone wants. How about 41 MPG Highway, 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $249 a month, $29.99 due at signing.
Hey, Jeff, give me some EV scoop.
2023 Nero EV Win, 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $292 a month. And a 2023 Kia EV6 Win with up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGe. Only $425 a month, both $49.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty to boot.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
And Bonds hits right high, hits it deep, it is out of here! Morant, a jawbreaker!
It's time to get up and get your day started. It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable!
Here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
It is Friday, and it's going to be another beautiful day in the Mid-South. While there were a couple of games last night, it is really tonight is the kickoff to the high school football season. So we are really getting our taste of football. College football, getting it away with a little taste next week before the first full week the following week. NFL not too far behind. Football season is officially here. It's Friday, beautiful weather. What more could you possibly ask for? We've got a jam-packed Friday show coming for you here on Sports 56 Mornings. It is the Friday, August 18, 2023 edition of the program. I am Eli Savoy. Zach Boyd is here. Greg Gaston is not. Greg Gaston will return next week on the program, on Tuesday of next week, as a matter of fact. Coming up on today's program, John Varlas, Mr. High School Football, here in the fantastic city of Memphis. Been covering it for a long time, and I know he is geared up and ready to go for tonight, as there will be high school football action all over the area. He will join us in studio to talk about it, his preseason dandy dozen, all the matchups, various schools. If you've got any school, any matchup for this week that you want John to talk about, you can text those in. Hit us up, 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255. If you've got a school or anything you want John to talk about on the high school football scene, he will do that. He is amazing. Right off the top of it, he knows everything, every player. It's like he knows the entire roster of every team in the area somehow right off the top of his head. But John will be here in a little over 20 minutes, and we'll have him for a couple of segments talking high school football. So that, if you want to get anything in, you got any questions for John, 901-360-8255. Then, in our second hour, 8:30 today, Rob Fisher, the fish man. Of course, Grizzlies sideline reporter for the Grind City Media. Yesterday, the Grizzlies' schedule came out. We will be going over that. And nobody breaks it down like Fish does, so we'll be talking Grizzlies schedule with Fish and other things Grizzlies as well. And who knows, we'll probably get into some other stuff beyond that, including the Elvis Vigil, because he was there the other night. Rob Fisher at 8:30. 9 o'clock, it is Pete Futak from collegefootballnews.com. Nobody writes more previews than Pete Futak does for the college football season. He previews every team in every conference. I don't even know how he finds time to do this. It's insane. And then he does all kinds of other preseason predictions and things like that. Fantastic website, collegefootballnews.com. And Pete is the founder, the publisher. And we'll be talking college football with Pete coming up at about 9:05. And that will be followed up by former NFL All-Pro linebacker, now the owner, founder of Lights Out Fighting, and that is Sean Merriman. We've had him on the show a number of times. If they've got another event coming up, we'll talk to him about that, but we'll also get into the NFL with Sean Merriman coming up at about 9:30. So it is a just gigantic show. And if that's not enough, how about a chance to win? We're not going to have 10 in a row today, but I do have a chance for you to win. Next Friday night, a week from today, the Doobie Brothers will be out at Live at the Garden, and we're going to have a pair of tickets for that we will give away at some point on today's program. So we give you an opportunity to win on this Friday as well. As I mentioned, going to be another just gorgeous day as we continue to kind of ramp up the temperatures again, but it's going to look the same as, I don't know, what the last 3-4 days, whatever. Sunshine, temperatures today getting into the upper 80s, high around 87, 88 degrees is expected, but we can accept that. It says a 0% chance of rain. There's no chance it's raining today. So that's good. Currently, we sit at 71 degrees. For the kickoff tonight of high school football games, should be right around 80 degrees. A little warmer than you would want for football, but still not bad. We'll love it about 70 degrees for those kickoffs, but nonetheless, 80 degrees, that's what it's expected to be tonight, right around 7 o'clock, and it will be dropping a little bit as the games go along as well, that sun sets and all of that good stuff. So it's going to be it's a fun day. Fridays are always fun. Football on the high school front is officially here. College, NFL to follow, and so that is great stuff. We come to you live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure is where family and fun come together. They continue to clear out inventory, making room for new stuff. You can get a great deal because of that. Head on over and see them at 2120 Whitten Road. Billy and Lindsay, all the great folks over at Family Leisure will take good care of you. Of course, that's where I got my hot tub. They've got plenty of those. Matter of fact, I got to stop by there today, either today or tomorrow, probably over the weekend, actually, to get some supplies to take care of my hot tub that I got there, which I absolutely love, and you will too. Go check them out. They got a massive selection of that. They've got pools, play gyms, all that good stuff, patio furniture, all that good stuff that you can find over at Family Leisure. As I mentioned, Greg is not here. He'll be back next week. I am here. Zach Boyd is here. Zach Boyd, happy Friday to you.
What's goody, everybody?
Are you in a good mood?
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
Little bit?
It's the weekend. I'm always excited about the weekend naturally. It's just, I don't know.
We got the Grizzlies schedule. That didn't put you in a good mood?
I guess I didn't sleep well last night. That's the problem.
I don't ever sleep well, but you just gotta get up. You get your Get your caffeine. Get going. Get ready.
See, that's the thing. I don't drink caffeine. So.
Well, see, that's your problem. That's a problem. That's your problem. You know, me and you get a little opposite diets. We do things differently as far as the things we consume. But nonetheless, hey, that's why you're probably not probably. I'm sure you're very much healthier than I am. But hey, we'll see what happens. So as I mentioned, the Grizzlies schedule. We knew this was coming out. We talked about it yesterday morning. Grizzlies schedule came out yesterday, so now we know exactly. We had already knew the in-season tournament dates and all of that good stuff. But now we know everything. We know the entire schedule, and it will open up Wednesday, October 25th with the New Orleans Pelicans right here in Memphis to take on your Memphis Grizzlies in a 7 o'clock game. Do you believe that we will see Zion Williamson that night?
I hope so.
Do you believe it will happen?
I think it will happen.
Oh, okay. All right. Obviously, we know it will not be Ja versus Zion because we know Ja will not be playing.
Right.
But the New Orleans Pelicans will start off the season. That'll be the opener for the Grizzlies here in Memphis against the Pelicans. That'll be followed up on a game Friday night, October 27th against the Denver Nuggets, your defending champions. So not a bad start to the year. Your first 2 games, possibly Zion and the Pelicans, and then the champs, the Denver Nuggets, coming to town before a trip to Washington, then a return home for Dallas, then a 3-game road trip to Utah and Portland. You get the Miami Heat on November 8th, the other team that was in the finals last year. You get the Boston Celtics on November 19th at home. You get the Phoenix Suns on November 24th. We knew that. That's one of the play-in tournament, or that's the in-season tournament game on Black Friday. So early in the season, you got a lot of premier teams coming in. You get the Nuggets. You get the Mavericks. You get the Heat. You get Boston. You got Phoenix. Dallas again on December 11th. And then, as everybody did yesterday, I know as soon as everybody got the schedule, they went counting to 25. Where's that 25th game? And then, more importantly, what is the 26th game? Well, the 26th game of the year, Ja's opening night, also just so happens to be against the New Orleans Pelicans. This one on the road in New Orleans could be, this time, Ja versus Zion. And that will be nationally televised on TNT. So it'll be December 19th at New Orleans. That is the first game that Ja will be eligible. I guess, again, and this goes back to the thing I brought up. Now, if the Grizzlies were to make the championship game of the in-season tournament, technically, again, if that game counts as a suspension game, he would be eligible to return against Oklahoma City one night earlier. But that would require the Grizzlies making it to the championship game of the in-season tournament and doing that without Ja Morant, obviously, since he will not be eligible to play at all in the in-season tournament. So that is the game at New Orleans. I joked earlier in the week about the lack of national television games for the Grizzlies in the in-season tournament. But there is no lack of national television games for the Grizzlies for the season. They just all but one so happen to be, for some reason, weirdly enough, from the 26th game on. Again, I don't know. Weird coincidences happen.
Kind of hard to put your finger on.
I don't know why. The only national, and again, we're not counting NBA TV here. We're talking ESPN TNT. The only national television game that they have before Ja's return is the game at Dallas on December the 1st. After Ja's return, including the game in which he is scheduled to return, they have 12 national television games. So that is a total of 13 if you're scoring at home. Last year they had a franchise record of 18. If Ja was playing this full season, certainly they would have more because they would have more in those first 25 games. There is a chance still also that you get games picked up later in the year. That's what last year they got at the end of the year, because once they see who's good, who's bad, they'll make changes on national television games. So you could still add more, and the Grizzlies could still get up to 14, 15, 16, whatever, if they are good and playing well and get some picked up at the end of the year. But they have 13 national television games. So again, for all those people for all the years who talked about how the national TV hates the Grizzlies, ESPN hates the Grizzlies, why don't they ever show Grizzlies highlights? Why don't they ever do this? It's one simple thing in the league. You have to have superstars. That's who gets on TV. And now the Grizzlies have one. They have a guy who people want to watch. And if you have a guy that people want to watch, the TV networks will want to put that guy on their network because they want people watching. The Martin Luther King Day game is against the Golden State Warriors. A 5 o'clock game against Golden State, Martin Luther King Day. So instead of getting the Warriors on Christmas Day, they get them on Martin Luther King Day, and they get them at home on that. That is going to be, that's going to be nuts. I mean, the MLK Day game is always a huge game to begin with. Now you're throwing in the Golden State Warriors into that game. That is going to be a crazy day downtown.
So many media people there.
Oh, it's going to be nuts. That is going to be absolutely nuts on MLK Day. That game will be on TNT. Then their next game will be at Minnesota. That'll be on TNT. They play on New Year's Eve, which I don't like at all as a home game.
That's another one.
7 o'clock game against Sacramento on New Year's Eve. Not a fan of that. To me, if you're going to play on New Year's Eve, it needs to be earlier. It needs to be a 5 o'clock game. And you just don't, to me, you don't need FedEx Forum emptying out at 9:30, 10 o'clock into the New Year's Eve downtown chaos. Like it's just too much. It's just too much for me. If you're playing New Year's Eve, I would much rather see that be like a 5 o'clock game or even earlier than that if you could. But nonetheless, they're playing at 7 o'clock on New Year's Eve. Then the day after, or a couple days later on January 2nd, they welcome in San Antonio. And that will be San Antonio's first visit to Memphis with some guy named Wembanyama. That'll be January 2nd, the first trip to Memphis for Mr. Wembanyama. So you got that to look forward to as well. Over Christmas, they are on the road. Although they don't play Christmas Day, they will play the 23rd at Atlanta, the 26th at New Orleans, and then the 28th at Denver, the 29th at the Clippers before they return home for that New Year's Eve game against the Sacramento Kings. That is a great game. Sacramento obviously figures to be really good again.
We had them last year around that time of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the Grizzlies played on New Year's Eve last season.
Yeah,
I don't know who. I can't remember who it was against.
Back.
Oh yeah, they did. Then they played New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, didn't they?
Yes, because I remember that.
That was awful. Who did they play? I can't remember who they played in that. But you are correct. I did. Maybe it was Sacramento. I don't know, but I do know. Yeah, I remember them. I think that was a New Year's Eve, New Year's Day back to back that they played last year. That is brutal. It's bad enough being a 7 o'clock New Year's Eve and then a game on the 2nd. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. You can't ask for a worse back to back than that.
That was New Orleans on the 31st and then Sacramento on January 1st.
Okay, so there you go. So yeah, the good memory. So Sacramento last year New Year's Day, this year New Year's Eve for the Kings to be here in town. The season ends with the Lakers and Nuggets both coming to town. April 12th, a Friday, the Lakers are here. April 14th, a Sunday afternoon game, 2:30, the Denver Nuggets. So the team that knocked you out of the playoffs last year, followed by the team that won it all last year, are the last 2 games of the season for the Grizzlies. So we'll talk a lot more about the schedule, again, with Rob Fisher coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:30 today. But anything that jumped out at you, Zach, from this schedule that you really like, really don't like, what kind of jumped out?
Like you mentioned, like after looking at kind of going through like, okay, who do we have like the first couple of months, possibly getting Ja for the in-season tournament. I think that was initially my thought process. I think overall, like, the schedule's been kind of kind. Don't you think? I feel like it's more spread it out evenly than it was the last couple of seasons. Because normally, and especially this upcoming season, because of the NCAA tournament coming in to town for the first two rounds, you would think that, okay, like on the back end, they're going to be loaded up on a lot of road games, which that's the case in March. And so you're going to get a lot of your home games at the beginning of the season. But I think the scheduling wise, I don't think it's that bad, to be honest.
Yeah, they do. In March, they have the 7 out of 8 on the road, which is the NBA does this weird, like, they go to Sacramento, then to Golden State. Okay, that makes sense. You're out there. That's perfect. Then they go all the way down to San Antonio. Then they come all the way back up to Denver. Then they got to come to Memphis to play the Lakers. Then they go to Orlando. Then they go to Detroit. Like, that is... And then they go to Milwaukee, which, again, makes sense. Detroit to Milwaukee very much makes sense. But, like, that's so bizarre to me. Like, you would think, and again, obviously, it's a very difficult thing to put together an NBA schedule for 30 teams and all that stuff. But that is such weird, like, you get these weird things that happen travel-wise. You're like, wait a second, like, you're sending them, like, from, like, some of the longest travels you can do and moving them around, like, and then you just go, hey, by the way, pop home to play the Lakers and then head to Orlando.
Right.
And then, once you're in South Florida, how about we send you to Detroit from there? Like, it's just, some of that is bizarre stuff that happens as far as the schedule is concerned. But, yeah, I mean, obviously you knew you were going to play some good teams in the first 25 games of the year. Like, you have to. Like, you're not going to get just the worst teams in the league in the first 25 games. So you're going to have to play some of those. It is what it is. But I think it's, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Everybody's playing the same thing, basically. So, we'll talk with Fish, get his thoughts. Again, he breaks it down in a lot of different ways than most people look at it. So the preseason, by the way, October 8th, Indiana at home, October 10th, Milwaukee at home, and then they'll be at Atlanta, at Miami, at Milwaukee for the other 3 preseason games. So 2 preseason games at home, October 8th and October 10th. The opener October 25th against the New Orleans Pelicans. So you get Denver in the 2 Denver visits, the 2 champion visits, Game 2 and the final game of the season. That's the 2 times that Denver comes into town. Up next, we're going to be talking some high school football. Our buddy John Varlas will be here in studio tonight. Full schedule of high school football ready to go. But folks, I do want to tell you, have you checked out Genesis Diamonds yet? If not, you need to. It's unlike any jewelry you've seen, especially here in Memphis. It's a whole different level when it comes to selection, when it comes to prices, when it comes to the service, everything else that you get, it's a different experience altogether. Genesis Diamonds is located in the Poplar Commons at Poplar and Perkins Extended. They've got an amazing selection of diamonds, engagement rings, other fine jewelry, lines of jewelry that nobody else in Memphis carries. Case after case after case of selection when you go in there. All different prices. Whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it. That is for sure. Plus, an unbelievable staff that does not work on commission, so they're not there to pressure you into buying something more expensive than what you want. They're there to help you. They're there to educate you, helping you become a smarter diamond shopper, jewelry buyer. That's what it's all about. They've taken out the middleman. This is an importer selling directly to the public, so the prices are better than you'll find anywhere else as well. So a better selection at better prices with an extremely helpful staff that doesn't work on commission. You just don't find that anywhere in the jewelry industry. Plus, their warranties, their upgrade policy, also things that you don't find in the jewelry business. This is truly a one-of-a-kind place, Genesis Diamonds. Again, Poplar Commons Shopping Center, Poplar and Perkins Extended. Don't be buying your jewelry anywhere else. At least just go give them a try. Just go check it out. I guarantee you're going to be blown away. Prepare to be amazed when you walk in the door at Genesis Diamonds. John Varlas up next, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
When the weather gets better, I found a new place to really soak it in. It's the patio at the Commissary in Collierville. We all love the delicious Memphis-style barbecues. You can begin your barbecue fest with some great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos. Oh, those smoked chicken wings, they're terrific too. Then dig into the ribs or the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich. A big sandwich, or you can get it on a plate. You've got choice, and you've got choice in places. Don't forget the Germantown Commissary as well. Comes with beans and slaw, deviled eggs they're famous for. And Brad, you can even order by the pound, a 6-pack or an 8-pack or even a 12-pack. The Boss Man salad, the chicken plate, the barbecue shrimp. There's something for everybody, and those great desserts. The best icebox lemon pie anywhere. Or my favorite, the banana pudding. Check out the patio, TVs for sports, and music on the weekends. You love the Commissary.
When building the 2023 RDX, we decided to raise our standards. That means a 272 horsepower VTEC turbo engine, standard. Acura Watch advanced safety and driver assistance technology. Yep, standard. Alexa built in, also standard. The 2023 RDX, raise your standards. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Visit Acura of Memphis for summer of performance deals. AcuraofMemphis.com.
Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long, because right now when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. How about Cincinnati? They nearly pulled the trick 2 years ago. I'm riding them. Great quarterback, solid offensive line, talent on defense, and consistency with a coaching staff. Plus, they've got experience in the big games recently. They've been close. I think they finally knocked down the door. So visit FanDuel.com/win and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/win.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
A new era in public safety begins with you. Be the change you want to see. Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo, Saturday, August 26, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We'll be taking applications, performing basic testing, and interviewing candidates on site. Free parking will be located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. Salary starting at $60,700. Benefits include a $15,000 sign-on bonus, up to $10,000 relocation assistance. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
For all your roofing and home repair needs, it's Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Give my man Brandon McCullough a call at 901-438-5084. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, or go online to newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing with many different plans and options to choose from, including a 6, 12, or 18-month same-as-cash option. They'll work with your insurance company or out of pocket, whatever it takes to get that roof fixed. Pinnacle is part of the Roofs for Troops program. Any veteran, active or retired, you get a $250 rebate on the purchase of a new roof. Pinnacle does both residential and commercial roofing, so business owners, property managers out there, along with homeowners, if you have a leak or any other roofing problem, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They are licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. If you need work around the home, they can do that as well. Carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters, put up fencing and siding, rotten wood repair. If you need shingles installed, Brandon is a certified shingle installer. This is a locally owned and operated company. It's Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration, quality work at a very reasonable price. Give Brandon a call at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Working a couple accidents this morning. Kirby Parkway at Winchester. That's Kirby Parkway at Winchester. And then Getwell at Knight Arnold. That's Getwell at Knight Arnold. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings.
Good morning.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back here in the Family Leisure Studios. Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you. No, Greg Gaston today. Going to be another beautiful day. We're off to a beautiful start. Lots of sunshine. A little bit warmer once again with temperatures getting up into the upper 80s. But a great day, great night it's going to be for the kickoff of the high school football season. And here is in studio with us, Mr. John Varlas.
It's time for Greg and Eli's weekly visit with John Varlas of the Daily Memphian. Check out John's prep sports coverage and more at dailymemphian.com. Now, here's John Varlas with Greg and Eli.
He joins us each and every week. And of course, this time of year, it's always a lot of fun to talk with John Varlas, the high school football season. A little appetizer last night to get things started. But tonight it is a full schedule. Mr. Varlas, I know you're excited. How are you today?
I am excited, Eli, and it's great to see you and Zach as always. But right quick off the top, I have a small bone to pick with you. It's Bone Picking Friday.
Oh, here we go. It's Bone Picking season.
Bone Picking season. So the other day at the FedEx St. Jude golf tournament, you were walking along the 18th green there, and you were talking to somebody, and I was waving to you. I was like, "Hey, Eli, hey," and you just ignored me and kept right on moving. So I
apologize. I did not see you. I must have been focused intently on my conversation I was having.
I felt embarrassed and ashamed, and I just felt like to take care of myself, I thought I should say something at this juncture.
I apologize. No, I would never purposely ignore you.
I was snubbed. You snubbed me.
I would never purposely snub you.
I'm just playing.
I apologize. I did not know that. Now I feel bad.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just messing with you. No, but it was a big crowd. I mean, it would have been easy to miss me, but no, that was a fun tournament this year, was it not?
It was a lot of fun. Anytime you go to a playoff, and that's 3 straight years it's gone to a playoff. It was lots of intrigue, and by Lucas Glover winning, I won a lot of money, so that was great too.
Hey, it
all worked out in the end. That was the key. That's probably what was it on. I was probably focused on my man Lucas Glover getting to the finish line.
It probably was. No, it wasn't. I wasn't there Sunday.
Okay,
but it was Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize.
No worries.
Did not mean to snub you. Well, tonight again, it is here. Week 1, high school football season. Again, there were a few games last night. And folks, again, if you have any questions about any teams or any matchups, John is the man to ask. That is for sure. If you want to text in 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255, or you can message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, any of that. If you got questions on any teams or anything like that, John is the man to ask. You came out with your preseason dandy dozen, and it's interesting because your top 4 teams, number 1, Germantown, number 2, Bartlett, number 3, Houston, number 4, Collierville. You've talked about how good that region is in 6A, and here you've got those 4 schools as your top 4 schools in the preseason.
Yeah, and after, and first of all, I spent a lot of time on that stupid thing, and I really appreciate everybody reading it and commenting on it and giving their feedback and supporting our website for sure. But no, I really put in a lot of effort into that this year. It sounds weird when you sit down to do it and say, well, is it possible that for the 4 top teams or 4 teams near the top would be from the same region, and when you sit down and look at it, I think this year the answer is yes. I think all those teams. Obviously, I think there's question marks with all those teams. There's question marks with every team, I think, at this point in the season. But they're just so strong, and you can just point to all 4 of those teams have future college players. All 4 of those teams have great skill players. All 4 of those teams have outstanding quarterback play. All 4 of those teams. have playmakers. They got guys that can get out there and hit home runs. All 4 of those teams are well coached. Defensively, the Germantown and Bartlett in particular at the top are going to be really sound. I think it's just going to be a fantastic season in that region. Obviously all those teams are going to play each other, round robin over the course of the season. So the fans will get out and have a chance to see some wonderful football this year. But no, I think it's, I think it's fair. I think it's, it's accurate. I hope it proves to be accurate. And, but it just speaks to the strength of that region. And I think too, Eli, when the state poll comes out Monday, I think that's the strength of that region is also going to be reflected in the state poll as well. Cause I've talked to, some friends from around the state and they're considering our 6A teams, pretty strongly as well, along with, obviously the traditional Maryville and Oakland, the defending state champ.
It's interesting because, and we were talking about before we went on there, no Whitehaven in your preseason Dandy doesn't. No Christian Brothers in your preseason Dandy doesn't. Only 2 private schools in the preseason Dandy does. So it's a little bit different. So there's some new blood, some things like that, and that's going to happen in high school football.
Yeah, historically, you've had more private school representation. Certainly more often than not, you've had Christian Brothers in there, and likely Briarcrest as well, and an ECS as well in the past probably. But no, I mean you look at Christian Brothers. I mean, I think they have a lot of talent lost, not just from last year, but over the last couple of years. So there's probably some question marks going into tonight's opener against White Station. I mean, I certainly, if anybody can maximize their talent and have a good season regardless of maybe not being as good on paper, I think it's going to be Christian. Well, I got all the faith in the world in that staff over there.
They have literally on offense a completely new set of skill position players. They lost all of their receivers, lost their quarterback, lost their running back. Like it is a complete new set of skill position guys. So you don't know like that. When you're going in with a complete new set of skill position guys, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, and same thing with Briarcrest. They're bringing in Phil Massey. They've got they have some good talent coming back, especially with Cade Carlson at the quarterback position, and they've got some skill guys as well, I think, and some linemen. And certainly, Coach Massey, excellent track record from his time in Chattanooga. I think he's going to eventually get Briarcrest into a really, really good position. But right out of the top, no, I think the on paper at least, and that's what you look at in the preseason. It's like you said, it's teams like Farrelly and teams like Melrose, and of course teams like Mace, who we'll see tonight opening up at Lausanne with a really good Dandy Dozen battle to start the season. It's it's like I told you off air. When I do the rankings, I'm not saying necessarily that if Mace is number 5 and let's just say Bartlett, for the sake of argument, is number 10. Not necessarily saying that Mace would beat Bartlett if those two teams played head-to-head, because you're talking about a 1A school with, couple of hundred kids against a 6A school with 2,500 kids. It's not necessarily that. It's more of a reflection of who I think is going to have the best season and the best chance for success.
All right. Well, you mentioned there are some good matchups tonight. I think you were at least 3 that are matchups of teams in your Dandy Dozen, and starting with that Mace Lausanne game. Certainly Lausanne has been really good here in recent years, and Mace, one of those up-and-coming teams who's been really good now as well. What do you expect for that matchup?
Well, most likely no Kumaro Brown for Mace tonight. He is still recovering after being shot in the calf around 4th of July. Thankfully, and I don't want to sound glib about this, but if you're going to be shot in the calf, thankfully his injury has healed up as quickly as possible, and he's recovering as well as possible, and he's gotten through that as safely as possible. So he will be back, at some point in the relatively near future, but most likely night tonight. But they do have a stable of running backs that are going to carry the load in Kumaro's absence. Mace has a huge offensive line, and that's going to be a good thing for them, not just tonight, but all season long. And what I'm really interested to see, Eli, tonight with Mace is they've brought in E.J. Gilliam to start at quarterback, and he was an all-state quarterback last year in Class 2A at Freedom Prep. He threw 30 touchdown passes against 1 interception.
Wow!
So you got to like that touchdown to interception.
That's pretty good. 30 to 1's pretty good
ratio. So that might give Mace a slightly different dimension with being able to do some things more in the passing game this year. You look at Lausanne. Obviously, Brock Glenn is gone at quarterback. He's at Florida State now. So they're going to turn it to a sophomore, T.J. Jenkins. Really heard good things about him, but obviously he doesn't have any varsity starting experience. But they've got some good line play ahead of him with Luke Work, the big tackle who's committed to Mississippi State. They've got some good receivers at Lausanne. Chris Jordan is committed to Austin P, and Chris is going to also lead in the secondary. And, of course, Tyler Wilson at Lausanne is going to be the bell cow running back this year. So I'm expecting big things from Tyler. So I think that's going to be a good test. On paper, you got two teams that look fairly even, two teams that harbor, deep playoff run aspirations in their respective divisions, and a good old-fashioned public and private matchup,
Yep.
Shades of the old Bridges Classic tonight.
Yeah, that's in John's rankings, number 8 Mace against number 6 Lausanne. Speaking of public versus private and a matchup of ranked teams, number 2 Bartlett, number 7 MUS. Another MUS. We always every year at MUS the schedule they play all these teams. It seems like so. They don't, and oftentimes they come up with the wins in these things. But what do you expect Bartlett and MUS?
Well, I mean, just real quick on that MUS schedule, they open up tonight with Bartlett, which was 11-3 last year. Then next week they will host Melrose, which was 9-2 last year. Week 3 they will travel to Montgomery Bell Academy, which was the state runner-up last year in the largest public school. And then week 4 they'll host Chattanooga McCauley at home, which was awesome last year. So right out of the gate, no goofing around there with the MUS schedule this year, and it gets started tonight. I think that's going to be a really good game. I'm excited to see what Brady Hughes is going to bring to the table for MUS at quarterback. I know, in talking to Coach Alston offensively, his concern was, do they have enough explosiveness, enough home run hitters on offense. I think they're going to. He told, Brandon Nicholson, the defensive back who's committed to Stanford, he's going to play wide receiver this year, I think for the first time in his varsity career, in an effort to help bolster that explosiveness and that playmaker. Mekhi Shaw is a playmaker for them, and, T. Perry is that big bruising 220-pound running back they got that's just a monster. Defensively, Hudson Schoaf is one of the best linebackers in Tennessee. Obviously the tragic death over the summer of Deion Stutz, that's going to kind of impact some of the things they might have been able to do football-wise, but, they've got guys that are stepping into that position as hard as it is, but that's going to be a big loss to overcome. And obviously it's going to be a lot of emotion tonight at Stoke Stadium, playing the first game without Stutz. I know they've got his number 62 on the field this season to honor him. So it's going to be tough from that perspective, and it's going to be tough from a football perspective, because Bartlett is going to be really, really good. Chris Smith coming in from Haywood County, they're going to play fast, that Tennessee kind of tempo where it's just nonstop. Hit him over and over again. Potentially a great defense too at Bartlett with David Milburn, the linebacker, David Rutherford in the secondary, 2-time All-State player already heading into his senior season. So Bartlett just has a chance to be really, really good across the board, and it's going to be a great test for both teams to start.
Another matchup of teams in the preseason, Danny doesn't. You've got number 5 Munford against number 9 Covington.
Yeah, these teams have played each other in the season opener every year since 2013.
Really?
Yeah, and Munford got a great campaign started last year with a 28-7 victory over Covington. Obviously Jordan Bell, the quarterback at Munford, one of our very best quarterbacks, just a smart football player, a good leader, a good dual threat guy, super athletic, can make all the throws. He's accurate, just poise, just everything you would want in a high school quarterback. And he's got a great target to work with too in Isaiah Cobbs, who's committed to Washington State. So they're gonna, those are gonna be the leaders at Munford. Obviously, Covington, Skyland Smith at running back. It looks like he's the next off their assembly line, and there's no secret obviously to what Covington's gonna do. They're gonna line up and run that wing tee and just try to ground and pound you. Last year they finished second in the Shelby metro area with 270 rushing yards per game. That was second only behind Fayette Ware, and I think kind of show you what they're made out of, Eli. That was, that's basically 84% of their total yards for the season was on the ground. So no secrets with Covington as always. They're going to try to run it. Munford's got to try to find a way to stop that run and get Covington off the field and give their guys a chance to do what they do offensively.
We've got a couple of text messages here for some schools that we'll ask John about coming up after a timeout. Got some other matchups that we'll look at as well. Again, if you want to ask a question about a matchup or any school, you could text in 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255. It's John Varlos from the Daily Memphian here on the opening week of high school football. Exciting time and going to be a great night tonight around the area. We'll talk more about it when we come back here, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
So you've decided to get yourself some culture and go to the Orpheum to see a Broadway show. Well, why stop there? Thanks to a partnership with the Orpheum, 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination, is offering the Orpheum pre-show menu. 3 courses just right before enjoying a Broadway show. Choose from a Caesar salad or French onion soup to start, a 7-ounce flank steak or pan-seared salmon for your entree, and top it off with carrot cake for dessert. If you're an Orpheum Perks member, you can get a special price. All this culture and great food thanks to the Orpheum at 117 Prime.
You want the hottest summer deals in the Mid-South? We got it at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 41 MPG Highway, we got it in 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $249 a month, $29.99 due at signing. Get SUV action in 2023 Nero EV Wind. 253 miles of EPA estimated range. $292 a month, $49.99 due at signing. Or 2023 Kia EV6 Wind with up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGE. Only $425 a month, $49.99 due at signing. All 36-month leases. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte PE 659,993. MSRP 22,540. Nero P 501,5237. MSRP 41,390. EV6 P 560,3393. MSRP 50,200. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer valid through 9523. Dealer stock only. Warranties are limited. Powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Is your roof leaking? Do you have water damage on your ceiling of your home or business? Do you need assistance gathering much-needed data and images from your storm-damaged roof for an insurance claim? Call Metro Builders, roof and restoration specialists, and schedule your free inspection. At Metro Builders, our team of Hague-certified technicians and fully trained estimators are ready to come out and evaluate any concerns you may have. Metro Builders Roof and Restoration. We accept all insurance carrier scopes. Call Metro Builders now. Each and every day, we provide clients many different types of data and estimates for their insurance carrier. These include estimate and photo reports of all damage, from the roof to water damage on rafters and ceilings and even studs and plates inside walls. Check out the local BBB for our 27-year history in construction in Memphis, or check us out online today at metrobuildersmemphis.com. That's metrobuildersmemphis.com for your local residential and commercial roofing and restoration experts. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Response to the all-new Genesis Diamonds has been incredible. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and listen up. People are loving what Genesis has brought to Memphis. It's more fine jewelry than you've ever seen in one place at prices you never thought possible. What's the Genesis secret? The owner was born and raised in the diamond industry in Tel Aviv. After selling wholesale to ordinary high-end jewelry retailers, he hated the insane markups they were getting away with. So he stopped selling to the stores and started selling direct to the public. That philosophy is still what drives Genesis as they continue to sell the highest quality diamonds at true, no middleman direct importer prices. With international connections and massive buying power, Genesis has what it takes to beat anyone else's price. Every day, on on every diamond. This goes for natural diamonds as well as lab-grown diamonds. Discover Genesis Diamonds, forever changing how people in Memphis buy diamonds and fine jewelry. Now open in Poplar Commons at Poplar and Perkins Extended, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
For nearly 4 decades, Corky's Ribs and Barbecue has been serving up that delicious slow-smoked barbecue to Memphians and Mid-Southerners alike. You can dine in, carry out, or drive through with no contact delivery. And you can have Corky's cater any event you got coming up for as low as $8.99 per person. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue is open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Reserve your private party room right now at the Cordova or Olive Branch locations. Add a third of a rack of ribs for just $6.99 when you purchase an entree like their barbecue sandwich or award-winning catfish plate. Party packs start at just $7.49 and lunch specials every single day. 4 convenient locations in the Mid-South: Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. It's Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Morning.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. John Varla's here in studio with us on this opening day of the high school football season. All right. Mario texted in, asked about his Sheffield Knights. What do you got about Sheffield for this year?
Well, I like Sheffield a lot, Mario. I really like the job that Coach Edward Kuykendall is doing over at Sheffield. They will open with Cordova tonight, a 6A school, but Cordova new coach this year, John Doughton, is back over there, and he's trying to rebuild that Cordova program. They weren't very good last year. So I think Sheffield has an excellent chance not only tonight, but I think they've got a terrific chance to repeat as region champions. Obviously, they lost Mark Joseph, which is going to be a huge thing to overcome. But, Ray Darius Jackson is flat out one of the best wide receivers in Tennessee. I mean, he's fast. He went to state in the 400 meters, so he's got track speed, and he's big. He's like 6'3" and 175 pounds, so that's going to create matchup problems in the passing game. They've got a good running back that they're high on this year, a little spark plug type named Javarius Triplett, who I think is going to do a good job for this year. Artavius Grayer is going to play quarterback for them. They've got some good size on the O-line. And Antonio Bell is All-State last year in the secondary. So I think Sheffield has a tremendous chance to repeat as region champions. It's going to be tough tonight against the 6A Cordova school, but certainly I think it's going to be a good competitive game, and I do like Sheffield going forward. I really do.
And I will see them next week because they will be playing Christian Brothers next week. So that's a tough start to their schedule for them. Numbers wise.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and that's the thing. As good as teams like Sheffield and Fairleigh and Mason, some of these others are, when you go against a larger school or a big private school like Christian Brothers, you're always going to run into that numbers crunch. But I don't think that necessarily will reflect on how good Sheffield and some of these other teams may be.
Another texter asked about Overton.
Well, honestly, don't know too much about Overton going into the season, but that is a tough region 8-5A, and so not only Munford, who we talked about, but Southwind, is going to be very, very good in Region 8-5A. Southwind may be the team I underrated somewhat in my preseason rankings because everything I've heard from everything the streets are saying, they were just outstanding in the preseason and in scrimmages. So may have underrated Southwind a little bit, and then of course you got Central, which is always going to be good too in 5A. With Major Wright, they've always going to be a competitive team. So it's going to be tough for Overton, and but maybe they can sneak in and battle for that fourth playoff spot this year.
They play Arlington tonight.
Tonight, yeah.
And because Tennessee Tom asked about that matchup, but somebody else also asked about Arlington.
Yeah,
your thoughts on them?
Well, Arlington's in a tough spot because they're in that 6A region. So they're competing with the 4 teams that we talked about earlier, plus Whitehaven, and they're going to be trying to do whatever they can to maybe sneak into that fourth playoff spot. I do think that Tommy Miller in time is going to get that program back up to where it was, maybe 5-6 years ago. I mean, Arlington was one of the best programs in Shelby County not too long ago, and they've kind of had a dip in maybe numbers and maybe a little bit in the talent pool. But I think Coach Miller's going to get that thing back up. It's just going to be tough this year, but I do think they will probably open up with a victory tonight against Overton.
I would assume is Arlington hurt by the fact that Lakeland? There's now the Lakeland school, the high school that it doesn't have a full class yet, but that had to take away from Arlington, right?
Yeah, I can't help but think it is. I mean, I remember, unrelated but similar. I remember last year going out and doing a story on the Lakeland girls soccer team, which actually made the state tournament last year in its very first year in existence. They made the state tournament with a team full of 9th and 8th graders.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and the coach was telling me that they for soccer they are getting some of the girls that might have gone to Arlington. Now, to this point, it hasn't affected Arlington soccer that much because they still have a strong girls soccer program. But you're right.
That's people that have just numbers, pure numbers. Some of the kids who were going to be going to Arlington don't go there anymore because they got a different school.
A pure numbers thing. It might start. And Arlington is playing Lakeland Prep is playing a full varsity schedule this year too. So it's going to be really interesting to see kind of what they look like out of the jump. I believe they're in that 3A region with the likes of Sheffield and I think East is in there. They've redone the regions this year, so off the top I'm a little hazy on the region still, but I'll have it all figured out.
Texter who asked about Arlington also asked about Collierville. We talked a little bit about them, but what about Collierville?
Collierville opens tonight. They are on the road against Decatur Riverside. Kind of an interesting matchup there. So Decatur Riverside was runner-up last year in the state in Class 2A, so a very good program, but a much smaller program, and Collierville is traveling there to open the season. I think Collierville is going to be really, really good. I have them at 4 in my rankings. I think probably the question mark for them is finding some guys on the offensive line. Robert Bourdon, the big tackle who's committed to Duke, and Tanner Wages are the only 2 returning starters. So they got to find some, they got to plug in some holes on that offensive line. I think they'll be able to do that. And once they do that, obviously they got one of the best quarterbacks in Tennessee, Aiden Glover, who's committed to Missouri. They've got a tight end, Eli Sisson, who's committed to Liberty. Joakim Dotson, the junior wide receiver, I think he's going to have a big junior season, and he's already got Power 5 offers. Everybody knows his dad, Damian Dotson, the great wide receiver from Memphis and from Westwood, who set all those records at Westwood back in the day. So undoubtedly there's a ton of talent at Collierville, and I think it's just a matter of plugging in some of these holes and navigating through a tough first 2 weeks of the schedule, because after this week's game against Riverside, they will host Beach next week, Hendersonville Beach, and they were the state runner-ups in 6A last year. So they'll open with the 2A runner-ups, and then they'll host the 6A runner-ups in week 2. Now, Beach has dropped down to 5A, but they're still a quality program.
So they got Riverside, then they got Beach.
I did.
Is there any other things that come next to water they can play?
In week 3, they're playing Shoreview High School.
Lakeshore. Is there a Lakeshore that we could find for them to play in week 3?
Actually, they'll open region play in week 3, so that's bad enough. But no,
Riverside followed by Beach. Yeah. That's awesome.
I didn't even notice that. Very good, Mr. Eli Savoy. No, it's a tough opening for Collierville, and I know Coach Riccone told me. Last year, they opened up with Raleigh, Egypt, and Douglas, and while that was good for 2 victories, it might not necessarily have been the most testing games for a team like Collierville. So this year they're gonna get tested right out of the gate and kind of see where they stand.
Any other matchups this week that we should think about or the one to pay attention to?
Some good games on Saturday. Melrose, which I'm really excited about. They've got just a bevy of good skilled players. It's going to be really fun to see them. And Ryan Brown is, I think Ryan Brown is going to be, pushing for some Mr. Football recognition this year. He's really, really talented player, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do. So Melrose is going to host East on Saturday and in the annual Soul Bowl, as they call it. And then the Whitehaven Classic also on Saturday. Mitchell plays in the first game, and then the main event at 7:30 is going to be Whitehaven and Central, two traditionally good programs that were, around the 500 mark last year. So this is going to be a good even test for both teams and a chance to see where they stack up this year.
Before I let you go, I want to just, I always like to get your thoughts on other things, but that's what pertains to somewhat high school here. Any thoughts on the Michael Orr, Sean Toohey stuff? Other than just being really sad and unfortunate, I just hate to see families airing out their dirty laundry publicly. And, apparently there's been a lot of bad blood over the years. Obviously it started out with really good intentions. And, it's really sad to see Michael Orr's own words, from the book he wrote in 2011. It's like, was it an official adoption? Was it not? He said his own words in his book, it didn't matter to me because I always felt like a family. And, and now to be at war with your family like that and obviously, money clearly is the root of this, and that's sad too. So, I definitely think the Toohey family, and preface this by saying I don't know them. I covered Sean when he played at Briarcrest, and I think he's a good guy. But I've never talked to mom or dad or anybody. I've never talked to Michael Orr. So I think they did help Michael Orr. On balance, I think they helped. You weren't covering preps when Michael was back. I couldn't remember if you were.
Yeah, no. On balance, I think they helped Michael Orr. More than not, but no, my overriding thing is just sad to air out dirty laundry like that and to see something that started with good intentions, kind of blow up here, 10, 12 years down the road.
Well, if you want to keep up to date with what's going on in the world of high school football, first you need to read him at the Daily Memphian. But tonight, follow him on Twitter at John Varlas. He will keep you updated with, somehow he is at 14 different games at once, and then he's got updates on others. It's amazing. I don't know how you do it, how you keep up with all the stuff, but he will keep you updated with all the stuff going on around the area, all the different results and everything else. And hey, go get some rest. It's going to be a long night for you.
For sure. Yeah, we'll have the scoreboard ticker up live and running, and we'll have our correspondents out all over the place. I'll have a correspondent out there at Christian Brothers keeping you company, Eli Savoy, and all the other games. So no, it's fun. The standard thing in the newsroom is when it's election night, everybody stays up late with the results and the what does it all mean, and they get free pizza for all the reporters on election night. Well, the high school football reporter does election night every Friday for the next 3 months, and they don't get pizza at all. They just get a hard way to go. So remember your prep reporter.
That's right.
Not just tonight, but every night.
Bring him a piece of pizza if you see him. If you see him out at a game this year, give him a piece of pizza. Give him something. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I will be, as he said, out at Christian Brothers for them in White Station. My 21st season.
21st
Christian Brothers High School.
Wow,
football, which blows my mind that it's been that long.
Speaking of Christian Brothers, real quick, have you seen Dallin Hayden lately? He is jacked up to the moon. This guy, and I'm not implying anything.
The thing is, he's in a running back room there at Ohio State. They have two. I was going through the Athletic had it's ESPN's top 100 college football players. Two of their running backs are the top 50 players in America.
Yeah, but I saw a picture of Dallin. It looks like he could pick up the running back room.
Man, he whenever he gets his opportunity, he's going to be. I think he's going to be really good. The dude is putting on that size, and then he's still he's so good. But it's just such a battle there at Ohio State in that running back position. John, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, thank you guys.
That's John Varlas joining us each and every Friday, talking high school football and much, much more. Up next, we kick off hour number 2. Got some things to get into from the world of Major League Baseball and much more as you're listening to Sports 56 Mornings here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5S Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5S Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5S Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
They're taking care of business in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Hey everybody, a little summer drive adventure is all yours in one of these hot new All-Star Chevys. And Olive Branch is where all the Chevys are. Silverados for sure. And they have financing down as low as 1.9 on most of the new Silverados, and your good credit deserves it. It really does. Trail Boss, High Country, and you can see Kevin or Jeff to order any custom Silverado or any new Chevy you want. Drive one of these Tahoes or Equinoxes. That'll be a sweet last summer drive for any adventure. And if you want a certified pre-owned Chevy or any pre-owned vehicle, All-Star is loaded up. Silverados, Corvette Stingrays. If it's not here, just ask Jeff and he'll find it for you. And Jeff and Kevin told me to thank all of you who are bringing your cars and trucks here to sell. You could get a check today for some crazy good money. Remember, it's not South Haven, not Mount Moriah or Bartlett or Collierville. It's gotta be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevy today or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Did you know a percentage of accidents are because people are texting and driving at the same time? If you've been hit by a driver texting and not paying attention to the road, call the law offices of Arthur Horn III. You probably know them for their big cases, but they know your case is big too. Let them represent you. Join the winning team at the law offices of Arthur Horn III. Call today, Arthur Horn III, 901-331-1816. That's 901-331-1816. And please, don't text and drive. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. Sports 56 traffic.
We got two new accidents on the roadways. Highway 385 west at Riverdale, the right shoulder is blocked. That's 385 west at Riverdale, the right shoulder is blocked. Also, Houston Levy at Raleigh-LaGrange. That's Houston Levy at Raleigh-LaGrange. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever. Woo!
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
The second hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you each and every day by James Gaddis Jewelers. 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. They are your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters. Looking for that special diamond ring, that special wedding ring, or personally designed wedding set? You need to head over to James Gaddis Jewelers. They are full-service jewelers with two-bench jewelers ready to serve you. All their diamonds are independently graded and certified. They know there's a lot of competition, so they make sure there's a price point to suit everyone's budget. Perhaps you're looking for that special watch, custom-made jewelry of all types, gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, pendants. So many choices at James Gaddis Jewelers, plus the romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. Layaway and financing is available. You want to sell your gold, silver, and diamonds? James Gaddis will give you a great price on that. Plus, if you need something appraised, James is a certified appraiser. Just head over to James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar Avenue, your family's jeweler.
And we certainly appreciate James Gaddis Jewelers bringing you hour number 2 of the program each and every day. This is hour number 2, Sports 56 Mornings, as you've got Eli Savoy and Zach Boyd here in the Family Leisure Studios. No Greg Gaston. Greg will return on Tuesday. Coming up later this hour, Rob Fisher, the, of course, Grizzlies sideline reporter and member of Grind City Media, will join us talking a little bit about that Grizzlies schedule and breaking it down. Hour number 3, Pete Futak from College Football News and Sean Merriman talking some NFL. So we've got plenty of stuff to get into. We're also going to be giving you a chance to win some Doobie Brothers tickets for Live at the Garden coming up a week from tonight. So that is coming up later in the program as well. Today, a lot more sunshine, highs in the upper 80s. Tomorrow and Sunday over the weekend, a lot more of the same. Sunny and continuing to get warmer. Tomorrow's high expected to be in the low 90s. Sunday, we're talking about mid-90s, maybe even a little bit more than that. But we're going to see a lot of sunshine this weekend here around the Mid-South. In the world of Major League Baseball, the Cardinals are calling up top prospect Mason Wynn, who's had a fantastic year with the Memphis Redbirds, and actually last night had 3 hits for the Redbirds, including his 18th home run of the year. The former second-round pick in 2020, ranked number 1 as far as Cardinal prospects go. He's a top 30 to top 50 prospect in Major League Baseball, no matter depending on where you look. But the Cardinals are calling him up. So Mason Wynn, the top prospect, the shortstop, is headed to St. Louis with the Cardinals. Meanwhile, in Major League Baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers win again. They make it 11 straight now as they just continue to be red hot as they get another win. They have swept 3 straight series now as they head into this weekend. From the world of the NFL, quite the tilt last night between the Browns and Eagles. The old 18-18 tie that was 3-2 at the end of the first quarter. The rare 3-2 football game at the end of the first quarter between the Browns and Eagles. You had no Jalen Hurts, no Deshaun Watson, no really anybody playing. It was just a terrible, as most are, preseason NFL game. Also from the NFL, the Washington Commanders have named Sam Howell as their starting quarterback for week number 1 as he beats out Jacoby Brissett. And Sam Howell, who was drafted last year, will be in year number 2 the starting quarterback, at least to start the year, for the Washington Commanders. And I guess it's no surprise, but boy, oh boy, you like if that's your quarterback battle, Sam Howell versus Jacoby Brissett. Yee. I'm interested. I'm interested to see what Sam Howell is at the NFL level. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Sam Howell at the NFL level, but man, oh man, it's just like if that's your quarterback battle, that does not set up well for the Commanders.
And you already got players that are upset with Bieniemy.
Well, if any of that is true, and I know Ron Rivera backed it, but if any of that is true, like if you guys are upset about how intense Eric Bieniemy is, that is so ridiculous. Like that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Oh, the coach is too intense. What?
He's too hard on us.
What's that? He's won 2 Super Bowls. You should be going, oh, okay, maybe that's why they actually win and we don't. I don't know. Maybe we need this in our camp. Maybe we need this thing.
He won 2, been to 3. Like yeah. I don't know what.
He's got a little bit more of a track record than you players have, so you might want to listen to him. Maybe he can actually teach you something and figure some things out that you guys could do better offensively. But again, when you're dealing with that quarterback position, well, for if you're Eric Bieniemy, how about going from? We talk about whether who deserved the credit and how much it hurt him that Andy Reid gets a lot of the credit. Blah blah blah. This is what's unfortunate for Eric Bieniemy. He leaves Andy Reid, goes somewhere else. So now everybody goes, okay, let's see what he can do away from Andy Reid. Well, he's going from Patrick Mahomes to Sam Howell. So if their offense struggles, it's going to be like, see, it was all Andy Reid. And no, he's going from Patrick Mahomes to Sam Howell. So don't expect Eric Bieniemy's offense to be great in Washington. But people will. Like that, there will be people, I told you, all Andy Reid. That's why he didn't get a head coaching job. He's not really that good. It was just Andy Reid's shadow.
I don't understand that part. Like that part I would never understand. It's like what old Lionel Hollins used to say back in the day. You can't have a champagne taste from the beer budget, you know?
That is true. And the thing is, the whole Eric Bieniemy thing, it's always confusing because Andy Reid's previous 2 offensive coordinators both got head coaching jobs, but Eric Bieniemy was, it's all Andy Reid. That's why he doesn't get hired. Well, why is that the case for him, but not the previous 2 offensive coordinators who both went and got head coaching jobs after working under Andy Reid? Nonetheless, that it is what it is in the NFL. Memphis Tiger note from the basketball front, according to Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal, and this was expected, but it just needed to become official. David Jones has now officially signed and will be here on campus and ready to go by the start of classes. He got all of his stuff taken care of at St. John's and needed to get that done. But now he is officially signed and he is ready to go with the Tigers. So he is in the fold. So now you still have 2 question marks, I guess. You've got the DeAndre Williams situation, and we don't know anything on that timeline. That is just waiting for the NCAA. Although the Tigers feel very confident in the case, and DeAndre Williams, I believe, feels very confident in the case that he has to get the extra year of eligibility. We don't know when the NCAA will actually get around to making a ruling on that. Nobody ever knows what the NCAA is going to do and what timeline they're going to work on. And then you've got the other Williams, the Mikey Williams question mark of what they are going to do there. Again, this has to be resolved here fairly soon as far as whether he's going to be here going to school or not, because classes start on, I think it's the 28th, maybe. I think it's the 28th, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, we're 10 days away. If that is true, that's 10 days away from the start of classes. Obviously, if he's going to be playing, going to be here, he's going to be here for the opening of classes. His trial, the trial's like September 6th, or the first, not trial, but the hearing, I think, is like September 6th or something like that. So that is after the start of classes.
Yeah, September 5th.
That's the hearing?
Yeah.
Are classes on the 28th? Do classes start on the 28th? Can you find that? Look in the David Jones article, if you can, from the commercial. I know that's where I saw it. Jason Munz had it in the article about David Jones that he would be here for the opening of classes, and he had the date. And I want to say it was the 28th, but I might be wrong as far as that is concerned. So obviously, again, that has to be, the Mikey Williams thing has to be figured out soon, one way or another, whether he's going to be here or not. If he's not going to be here to play basketball, he won't be here for any just to go to class, that's for sure.
10 days.
28th. Okay. So we're 10 days away from the start of class. And then I don't know how long you have after the start of classes where you technically could still get enrolled and all of that stuff. But so you got the DeAndre Williams and you got the Mikey Williams. I guess there is still somewhat of a Malcolm Dandridge question because he hasn't officially announced anything either way. He hasn't announced he's going elsewhere. So I guess that technically is still a possibility. So you've I guess got 3 question marks,
right,
as far as that is concerned. DeAndre Williams, Mikey Williams, Malcolm Dandridge.
Well, since I'm the most recent college grad between the 2 of us, the last time I checked is that you have to be in class for at least the entire week of that first semester, at the beginning of the semester, so that financial aid can process, make sure that you actually like in the class, actually showing up to class. So. I mean, obviously it's happened before where they worked around it somehow. So, yeah. But that's typically that first week is everybody got to show up to class just to make sure they get their money next week. So
and certainly yes, you know more about it. Here's what I will always say on that: when it comes to athletes, they figure out a way.
They find a way, man.
somehow, they always figure out a way.
That is one thing that I am very jealous of them. Like, especially in college, it's like they're always away. And I was like, man, like if I was just a college athlete just for like a year, I don't know how I would act. I wouldn't act high and mighty. Don't get me wrong, or on a power trip or anything like that. But anything they want, they got you.
And a couple of texters say that Tigers T says, I talked to Malcolm yesterday. He said he plans on being with the Tigers. And again, the fact that Malcolm Dandridge hasn't said he's going anywhere else, again, the same thing qualifies. Like, if he was going to be going somewhere else, like, he's got to go there for this. I don't know when St. Louis U starts classes, which is the one place he actually visited. But if he's going to be going somewhere else, he needs to be doing that. Like, so, yes, the fact that he hasn't announced he's going somewhere else makes you think there's probably a pretty good chance that Malcolm is going to be at the University of Memphis and will be with the Tigers. Drew says you have to be enrolled by the ad drop date, which is sometime in September. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like the first couple of weeks.
So, you can't miss with like 3 weeks. I mean, obviously, so that hearing he has, you said is the 5th, so that's only 1 week after the start of classes. Like, theoretically, if something magic happened in that hearing and who knows what, and then he could get here and certainly be enrolled after that and all of that
he's going to
stuff.
miss freshman orientation, which, that's an important part of your college career, man.
Yes. Somebody else will show him how to get around campus. They'll show him where to go eat.
Yeah, right. Like, gotta point him to the dining hall, which dorms not to walk into. The important stuff. By the way, St. Louis University, their classes begins on August 23rd.
Okay,
so it's in the middle of the week.
So that's next week. So if you're going to be going to St. Louis U, again, maybe you wouldn't be there. But I would guess if as far as we know, it's the only place he actually visited. So if he was going to be going there, I would assume he would have probably announced that since classes start next week. So, yes, I would say at this point, it seems like there's a pretty good chance that Malcolm Dandridge is going to be back with the University
I don't
of
like
Memphis.
their fall calendar. Not U of M's, but St. Louis. Oh. You start school on the 23rd, but then you have mass the following day at 11 a.m. Like,
they take those things seriously. Speaking of St. Louis University, it'll be a St. Louis University grad joining us next. Rob Fisher will be up next. We'll be talking Grizzlies with him, the Grizzlies schedule, which was released yesterday. Nobody breaks it down like Fish does. So we're going to talk with him coming up about that schedule and what to expect from the Grizzlies and other things. We'll get into all of that coming up with Rob Fisher in just a little bit. Memphis Barbecue Supply. I will be stopping by Memphis Barbecue Supply either this afternoon if I get some time or tomorrow because I need some supplies because I know one thing. I'm going to be doing some grilling this weekend. Got a open weekend, nothing to do, so I'm going to be firing up that big green egg. I need charcoal, and I need wood chips, or not chips. I usually use the chunks, the mini logs that I get from Memphis Barbecue Supply. But I've got to get some apple, I need some cherry, and I need some pecan. You can get all of that stuff at Memphis Barbecue Supply. They've got the massive selection. When it comes to charcoal, like I use the lump charcoal for my big green egg. They've got 4 different kinds of that. They've got 6 different types of briquettes, 14 varieties of pellets in stock. If you got the pellet grill, plus the wood for smoking and adding that flavor, they've got all of the different flavors. They've got chips, they've got chunks, they've got mini logs, they've got all of that. Largest selection of fuel and wood in the Mid-South. Plus, how about 308 different rubs and sauces? And again, that's a varying number because they get new stuff in here and there all the time. And if you follow them on social media, you know when new things come in. They even have recipes and things on their social media. 7041 Stage Road is where you can go see Jimmy and the guys. And if you've got questions about anything, they certainly can answer those. 7041 Stage Road, mbbqsupply.com is the website. Again, follow them on social media as well. They are Memphis Barbecue Supply. Up next, Rob Fisher talking Grizzlies, as this is Sports 56 Mornings on this Friday morning, a beautiful Friday here in the Mid-South. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
AutoZone is more than a parts store. It's where we help you solve problems like, sorry I'm late, my battery died. And
I need a jump, again.
At America's #1 battery destination, you can find the right battery at the right price with options starting at only $89.99. And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Memphis's oldest restaurant, Coletta's, was established in 1923 to give Memphians the best Italian food possible. I'd say they got it right. They are the creators of the barbecue pizza. It was Elvis's favorite, and I know for a fact that a large will feed one person all weekend. If you need to feed several, though, Coletta's caters any event. Choose from homemade lasagna, ravioli, Alfredo, primavera, and so many other delicious items you can't help but enjoy. Impress employees or clients and treat them to Coletta's for lunch or dinner. Plan ahead and get your holiday party booked at Coletta's. Elvis's favorite place to go eat with his buddies at the South Parkway location, and Coletta's even has an Elvis room dedicated to him. Call Coletta's on South Parkway at 948-7652 or Appling Road at 383-1122. Coletta's. It was Elvis's favorite, and it should be yours too.
Coletta's, now celebrating 100 years of Memphis' best Italian food.
Make this the summer sales event is still going strong at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Get ready to ride in your new 2023 Dodge Charger SXT. We Gossett $29,990 or $425 a month. Got some hauling to do? We Gossett covered in 2023 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tradesman 4x4, $39,990 or $579 a month. Or how about some employee pricing from Gossett on all Jeep Gladiators? 2023 Jeep Gladiator Sport 4-door 4x4 now just $669 a month. And if we don't have it, Gossett can order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 3500 down, Charger PH 508-657, MSRP 35,930, Ram PN 671,333, MSRP 48,390, Jeep PL 561,602, MSRP 54,655. Must finance through Chrysler Capital, includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax on and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month, dealer stock only.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Still dealing with the accident on Highway 385 West at Riverdale. The right lane is currently blocked. Also, Houston Levee at Raleigh LaGrange. It's just one of your older accidents. New accident on Poplar at Market Boulevard. It's Poplar at Market Boulevard. Accident on 240 West at Walnut Grove. And then accident on Macon at Sycamore View. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
8:26 here in the Family Leisure Studios. Eli and Zach with you on this Friday morning. Coming up a little bit later on, a chance to win some Doobie Brothers tickets, so stay tuned for that. Right now, we're going to get back into the Grizzlies and the Grizzlies schedule. Of course, was fully released yesterday. And nobody breaks down the Grizzlies schedule like Mr. Rob Fisher does. If you go to his Twitter, @TheFishNation, he's got, it looks like hieroglyphics. I mean, there's all kinds of, he's got pictures of the schedule with markings everywhere. He breaks it down. Everything that you would possibly need to know about the schedule, he has it for you. And Fish joins us now here on the program. What's up, man?
Not much. Eli, how you doing, man?
I am doing good. Before we get started on this, how was the Elvis vigil the other night?
It was great. It's been interesting the last 2 years now. You know, they have entrances now where you have to go and get wanded and everything to get in, and now they sell beer. You can't bring coolers in anymore, but they sell beer. Yeah, which is disappointing. But then the selling of the beer, that ended at 11 o'clock. And that's very early vigil time.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it's a little different. The crowd was a little different. It wasn't a bad crowd, but the vigils themselves are down. The number of people doing that. Now, it could be the fact that they were all like over 80 years old. That could be part of it. But yeah, I don't know what the deal was, but the crowd was decent because the weather was spectacular. I mean, that was one of the best weather nights for a vigil.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
That we've had. It was great. And it wasn't a big year. You know, number 46 isn't that big of a year. So, but it was great. It was great. You know how it is, as it is every year. It's interesting. You hear some interesting stories from some of the people that are out there. I met a woman who started the Austin Elvis fan club, and she's been to the vigil 43 years in a row. So, you know, it's fun to hear those sorts of stories. But if you're a Memphian and the Elvis vigil comes around, whether you're an Elvis fan or not, it certainly is an experience that you have to take in.
No doubt about it. It's how many is this for you now?
This was number 11 for me.
Very, very nice. I don't remember how many I did, but yeah, it's now getting up early in the morning. It makes it a little difficult. But when it gets back to the weekend, once it gets back on a weekend, I've got to get back out there again.
I know. I texted you the other night just to let you know I was going. I didn't expect you to say I'm on my way. I just wanted to let you know that I was on my way because yeah, I know that getting up early could be very difficult.
Yeah, once we get back to a Friday or Saturday, then I've got to get back out there. One thing I was worried about or wondering about. Was there like any Lisa Marie type stuff this year because of her death?
Nothing that I saw. But I think, you know, the line to get up to the burial site was very, very long. And I thought, well, maybe that's because, you know, Lisa Marie's now up there. So that could have had an impact on that. Because the line came down, you know, to the end of the driveway, and then it went down the street and then wrapped around, and so it was a very long line to get up. And so I thought maybe that might be a part of it. I know they did some stuff. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I know they did some Lisa Marie stuff when they had like the show out in front of Graceland. So, but when we were there was nothing really noticeable for her.
It is an amazing event. There's no doubt about it. As you said, if you live here and you've never done it, you just got to do it at least once. Again, 46 years. And it's still like people still travel from around the country, around the world to come in for that. It's a really bizarre thing, but it's really cool to get out there and meet those people. Like you said, people who have been here for 43 straight years for this event is amazing, amazing stuff. So,
going to it as an experience is the way that I would tell people.
It is,
and I've never gone with people who, when they left, were like, it wasn't that cool. Everybody who's left has always been like, oh, that was a pretty neat experience. Yeah. So you got to check it out.
No doubt about that. All right, so the Grizzlies' schedule came out yesterday. Of course, we already knew the in-season tournament stuff. We knew they weren't going to be on Christmas Day, all of those things. But what stood out to you when you first saw this schedule?
Well, I think one thing that stands out to me is I don't think there's really a stretch where there's not a stretch of the schedule where you think that is really daunting or that is very favorable. It's a very balanced schedule, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously it's balanced. You play everybody in the league and you play 40 at home and 40 on the road. But what I'm saying is I think throughout the schedule, there doesn't look like that long stretch of this is going to be a gauntlet or this one's going to be real easy. I think it's mixed in pretty well where it looks pretty balanced throughout the season. There's a 7 of 8 game road trip late in the season. But of those 7 road games, you play San Antonio, Orlando, and Detroit in 3 of those. So, how tough is that? You play 7 of 8 at home at one point, but you have some really difficult opponents in there. There are 2 really tough stretches. There's 2 of them, and they're both in January. One early January where you go on the road to the Lakers, Phoenix, and Dallas. Then you come home to the Clippers, New York, and Golden State. That's a really tough stretch. And then a couple of weeks later, you have a stretch where you go to Indiana. Then you have Sacramento, Cleveland, Golden State at home, and then at Boston, at New York. So those are probably the 2 toughest stretches. I think the toughest month, and again, there were no months that really stood out as being that difficult, but I think December is probably the toughest month just because you got a lot of stuff going on. You got 3 back-to-backs, and they're all road and road back-to-backs. 9 of your 13 games are on the road. You get your first matchup against Dillon Brooks. You got the in-season tournament going on. You got Ja's return coming up on the 26th on the 19th of December at New Orleans. So there's just a lot of stuff going on. And you have your longest road trip of the year is mixed in there. So it's just a lot of stuff, I think, in December that you have to overcome and just kind of navigate through, when Ja comes back and all of those things. So that's probably the hardest month if I had to pick one.
You mentioned the 7 road games out of 8 games that stretch in March and into April. And listen, I get it's really difficult for the NBA. You're doing 30 teams and arenas and all this stuff. But the travel for that stretch is so bizarre to me, the way they send you guys around I get it. You start with Sacramento and Golden State. Makes sense. Get both those out of the way. But then to go from there to San Antonio, back up to Denver, to Memphis to play LA, down to Orlando, then up to Detroit is so bizarre to me, the way some of these road trips work out.
Yeah, that's one that we're going to wonder where the hell we're at.
Yeah, you don't even know what part of it. Is it going to be warm or cold today? What part of the country am I even in?
Yeah, Orlando and then Detroit. At least it's in April, so maybe it won't be miserable in Detroit. But there are always weird ones in the schedule. But I think we're pretty fortunate because I don't think there's anything that outlandish. I mean, that's kind of weird. That's kind of crazy. That whole road trip. But other than that, a lot of it makes sense. And so I'm pretty pleased with the schedule. There isn't a month where there are a ton of back-to-backs. There are 2 months where you have 3 of them, and then there are 3 months where you have 2 of them. So it's not like you have 5 in 1 month or you're playing 17 games in 26 days. There's nothing like that, I don't think, on the schedule. So I think that's pretty favorable.
The MLK Day against Golden State is going to be nuts.
Yeah. What a matchup for that day. And I'm always happy. One of the first things I look at is that game. And the second thing I look at is to see if the game's on TNT, which it should be, and it is. So that was good. They're on their rightful space in being highlighted on MLK Day. And then to have Golden State, I mean, just to add that sort of matchup to what is always a great eventful day in Memphis is going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. I think the one thing I'm looking forward to the most, it's maybe not the most, but the Dillon Brooks return to Memphis. Now, the beauty is on November 22nd, you play in Houston. So you're going to get a lot of Dylan Brooks is going to be asked all the questions about Memphis and about Taylor Jenkins and about Ja and about Houston versus Memphis and all that. And then on Wednesday, December 13th, you're at Houston again, and then 2 days later you play at home against Houston for the first time. Dylan Brooks coming back to FedEx Forum. So in those two meetings, including one 2 days prior to being at FedEx Forum, does Dylan Brooks poke the bear? You know, he's a habitual bear poker.
He is.
And if he's going to poke the bear, you know, it'll dictate, because people keep asking me, what's the reception going to be like for Dylan Brooks? I'm like, I don't know. They play 2 games before he comes to FedEx Forum. So it could be great. He could have a nice reception, or he could be bear poking by then. And if he's doing that, will he be greeted with a bunch of boos? I mean, you can see Dylan saying, oh, Memphis, they're terrible. You know, we're best. This guy's better than this guy, and this guy's better than this guy. And then coaching, it's no comparison. You can see that happening, right?
Well, yeah, you could see him getting that game 2 nights earlier. Like, you could see him getting in the face of somebody like Jaren or something, doing something, taking a hard foul on somebody, and then the fans are going to be like, oh no, we ain't doing this. Yeah, and then he'll get booed. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to see how that plays out, but I like that it's a home and home against Houston on the 13th and 15th of December, starting there, and then back at FedEx Forum. I think that could be a lot of fun. What are your thoughts on the Grizzlies being left off Christmas Day? Do you believe this is like that they gave them the shot and they played so bad and they're like, that didn't work out very well? Or I believe it's kind of, this is like the added little punishment for Ja. Like, we're not going to put you on Christmas Day. We don't want that story being on our Christmas Day. And I think the Grizzlies are probably going to end up back on Christmas Day next year. What do you think?
Well, I'm with you there. I think as fans, that's certainly how we take it, that it was a slap on the wrist. And it's just an additional little punishment for Ja and for the Grizzlies. And that's how it feels. I think that's probably unfair and probably not likely. They got their shot last year. Not a lot of teams play on Christmas Day. I'm with you. I think they'll be back next year. I mean, does the NBA want Ja Morant? Well, his first game scheduled back is on TNT.
Yeah.
I mean, so yes, they and then most of the nationally televised games, 12 of the 13, are after Ja returns.
Yeah, out of 57 games, theoretically, that he could play after a return, 12 of them are on national television, with a chance for more to be picked up late in the year if they're playing well.
Right. So, exactly. So, he certainly is still a spotlight in the league, and so I'd be surprised if they're not back on Christmas Day next year. I think this was just kind of I think there are a lot of factors. They didn't play well last year. They weren't up for the moment. They got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. The Ja suspension and not knowing, that's really close. That's 12, how many days? 6 days after Ja returns. So there's still some questions there. And of course, Ja has to meet requirements from the league for it to stay at 25 games, whatever those are. So I think there are just so many questions that were going into it that it just didn't make sense this year for the Grizzlies to be on Christmas, but I would expect them back next year. And yeah, as fans, I think we say, it's punishment. They're holding the Grizzlies down, but I don't know if that's really true.
It's funny because, and I've said this all along, like, because when they announced the suspension, they were like, he has to meet these requirements or whatever to be back and all of this stuff. And everybody's like, what does that mean? What does he got to do? And I was always like, well, trust me, he'll be back. And the fact that, again, their 26th game is on TNT tells you he'll have met those requirements. I'm going to guarantee you right now he'll have met those requirements.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I'm pissed off because we won't be able to do that game now.
Well, here's what I brought up. If the Grizzlies were to make the championship game of the in-season tournament, he would be eligible to return one game earlier, right?
No. The championship game of the in-season tournament does not count.
So they're not counting that towards the suspension. I had that question earlier this year. I said, I know the stats don't count and everything else, but does it count towards the suspension? It doesn't?
No, it does not. Yeah.
That's bizarre.
It's like the play-in game.
They're playing again. They're playing a game that doesn't exist.
Yeah, the play-in games aren't counted as regular season or postseason games. The stats don't exist, and it just doesn't make sense to me. that there's a team, your team is playing against another NBA team, and it doesn't count.
Soon as it determines a championship for this thing, like it determines like $500,000 for players. But once the game ends, the stats vanish, and it's like, nope. I don't know what you guys are talking about. That game didn't happen.
Yeah, no. Hey, this guy went for 60 points. Well, congratulations. That's nothing. It doesn't matter.
It is not a career high because you don't get to count it.
Yeah. Now next year maybe we'll be like, NBA Cup record 60 points, and so we'll have to keep a separate record book, I guess, for the NBA Cup.
What is your feeling on the whole in-season tournament deal?
I'm embracing it. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm really looking forward to the reaction when it's over.
Mm-hmm.
From coaches, from players. I mean, for example, when the Grizzlies play in Portland in early November, they got 2 games in Portland. The Friday night game is a in-season tournament game. The Sunday night game is just a regular season game. Now, they're both regular season games, but the first one counts as an in-season tournament game. Do you go all out in that game?
I mean, I guess you do, right?
And then Sunday, if you got to rest guys, you rest guys. I mean, does that make Friday's game more important than Sunday's game? I don't know. And so that's why I'm kind of curious when it's all over, what will coaches say? Did they treat these in-season tournament games differently or not? And then, once you get to the semifinals and finals, I think competitors and players, if you're actually playing for something and they'd be playing for something financially to gain, then you play for it and you go for it and you want to win at that point. But I wonder how the players will react. I wonder how the coaches will react. I wonder how the fans are going to react to it. This is very soccer, and I'm not a soccer guy.
No, I'm not either. You're not heading up to Nashville tomorrow to watch Messi?
I'm not going to make it. No, I didn't have the money to get his tickets. But it's this is a soccer thing.
Yeah.
And so I think for a lot of us, it's hard to grasp what the meaning of it really is. And so I'm just waiting to see how it plays out. I'm willing to embrace it. I'm willing to give it a shot. And I hope it's enjoyable. I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
See, I know nobody likes change. Or like, what are they doing? This is stupid. Who cares?
Right.
But I mean, in the end, it really doesn't affect much. I mean, the games are still regular season games too. So if you don't care about it, you don't care about it. But, I guess having done Hustle and the way they do, like, theirs is completely different because the first part of the season is completely tournament. It doesn't even count towards the regular season. But I guess I'm like, I'm used to that whole idea of a tournament setting to start the year or whatever. So I'm more interested to see like what that means for the players. Like how much do they really care about it, or do they not? I mean, certainly for the rookies and stuff like that, the chance at $500,000 is much different than somebody who's on a max contract, or so like a guy like Kenny Lofton Jr. would love to win and get an extra $500,000.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think that it would come down to your veteran players who are making big money playing for those guys.
Yeah,
and to make those guys money. I'm just wondering when the Grizzlies play Utah on November 10th after the game, and you beat the Jazz, and Jaren's in the locker room, they're like, big in-season tournament win tonight. And he looks at the camera and says, "Oh, that was a tournament game? I didn't even know." Yeah. That's what you don't want.
Exactly.
The league doesn't want the players to just not be aware of it. They want them to embrace it as well. So we'll see how that goes. It's different. It's odd. I was like, what is this? This is a stupid idea, but I'm willing to see how it goes and give it a shot.
If there's one thing I know, trying to predict like the results of NBA games in like down the road is hard because you have no idea who's going to be playing. Like, there's going to be nights where guys are rested and injuries, all that stuff. But did you do any sort of projection of what you think the record will be when Ja gets back?
No, but I think, in the past, what we would say is, so it's 25 games. And in the past, I think what we'd say is just be around 500, just stay above water and survive those first 25. And like I said, the schedule's pretty balanced that I think you can be a above 500 team. whether that's 13, 14, 15 wins, I think you'd take it at this point. Now, the team, obviously, they'll strive for more than that, but I think at this point I would look at it and say, yeah, if you can give me, you give me 14 wins out of those first 25, let's go.
And I guess, heck, we don't even know 2 of the 25. We don't know who you're playing 2 of the 25, so you can't even predict 25.
Right.
You can only predict 23 right now because you don't even know who the other 2 are against.
Right, exactly. And I think the schedule is very, win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, win 1, lose 2. I think it's that sort of schedule that sets up for the Grizzlies. So, yeah, I would think a little bit above 500, right around 500 would be a good goal for those first 25 games.
Final thing for you, you're excited about Mason Wynn.
I'm really excited about Mason Wynn. Might be the best player in baseball. No, I don't know about that. I am excited about Mason Wynn just because it gives us Cardinal fans something to watch right now, because it's hard to watch this team and actually be interested for a full 9 innings. So at least if Mason Wynn comes up, that'll give us something to watch. And he's wearing number 0, and he's a special talent. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do on the major league level, because he was raking here in Memphis.
No doubt about that. Had a big night last night, and now he is headed to St. Louis. He is Rob Fisher, Grizzlies sideline reporter, Grind City Media as well. You can follow him on Twitter at @TheFishNation. Rob, as always, man, appreciate it, buddy.
Let me mention this, or Dennis Conner would be upset with me. Tickets are on sale now.
That's right, single game tickets.
That's right, Grizzlies.com. Go to Grizzlies.com and check out the tickets for the upcoming season as the schedule now is out. Man, I'm excited. This means schedule out means football next week and basketball right around the corner.
That's right. I saw Dennis last night, and he didn't even remind me of that, so he didn't even care. He didn't even care.
What's he doing?
he was off his game last night, apparently. He forgot to tell me about the whole thing, but I did know that. But I'm glad you got it in. We took care of it for him.
That's right.
Hey, Rob, thanks, man.
You got it, buddy, anytime.
That's Rob Fisher, Grizzlies sideline reporter. That's right. It's football season. Basketball will be here before we know it. Again, the first preseason game coming up October the 8th, so not too far away, with camps and everything else getting underway. Come back, wrap up hour number 2, a busy hour number 3. Pete Futak, speaking of football, Pete Futak from collegefootballnews.com, followed by Sean Merriman, talking some NFL with him. That's still to come in hour number 3. Also a chance for you to win some Doobie Brothers tickets. That might be coming up here shortly. Just a little clue here on Sports 56 Mornings and Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything! A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Attention, everyone. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory. Let me say that again. Family Leisure is needing your help to clear out their inventory. And to do so, there are tons of great deals throughout the store. For example, all do-it-yourself pools are $1,000 off. Special 24-foot round pools for less than $2,000. Select play gyms, only $18.99. Hey, if you need patio furniture, they have patio furniture that's now up to 30% off. Spas are in stock. They're up to $1,200 off. Now listen up, because I'm only going to say this once. 24 months, same as cash financing, is now available through this sale. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory, so come and do your part at Family Leisure. Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with two of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Uncorn flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Hi, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering has been our specialty for almost 40 years. Corky's makes it easy for you to impress your guests at parties, family reunions, weddings, or just treating your hardworking employees to a great meal to say thank you. Let us do all the work and you take all the credit. We will come to your location, set up and serve your hungry guests an all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $9.99 per person.
Corky's Barbecue.
Hey everybody, a little summer drive adventure is all yours in one of these hot new all-star Chevys. And Olive Branch is where all the Chevys are. Silverados for sure. And they have financing down as low as 1.9 on most of the new Silverados, and your good credit deserves it. It really does. Trail Boss, High Country, and you can see Kevin or Jeff to order any custom Silverado or any new Chevy you want. Drive one of these Tahoes or Equinoxes. That'll be a sweet last summer drive for any adventure. And if you want a certified pre-owned Chevy or any pre-owned vehicle, All-Star is loaded up. Silverados, Corvette Stingrays. If it's not here, just ask Jeff and he'll find it for you. And Jeff and Kevin told me to thank all of you who are bringing your cars and trucks here to sell. You could get a check today for some crazy good money. Remember, it's not South Haven, not Mount Moriah or Bartlett or Collierville. It's gotta be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevy today or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Yes, you gotta let the music play. They'll be letting the music play next Friday night out at the Radiance Amphitheater, the Memphis Botanic Garden, live at the Garden. Next Friday night, it is the Doobie Brothers. And I have a pair of tickets for that show that you can win. All you have to do is be caller number, let's go caller number 7. Caller number 7. 901-360-8255. 901-360-8255. Caller number 7 gets a pair of tickets to go see the Doobie Brothers live at the Garden next Friday night, August the 25th. Caller number 7, not going to take very long here. Forget that winner, but you can go see the Doobie Brothers. Those tickets will be sent to you. You do not have to worry about coming to pick them up, anything like that. They're going to be sent directly to you. that's the wonderful part about the world of digital tickets. You no longer have to come pick them up. You always get you can get stuff just sent right to you with this. So Doobie Brothers next Friday night live at the Garden. Hopefully the weather next Friday night is going to be as good as it will be tonight for our kickoff of the high school football season. Going to be a beautiful day today. Going to be a beautiful weekend. It's going to get warm again, especially on Sunday. As temperatures will get into the 90s tomorrow and even into the mid-90s, upper 90s on Sunday. Is that our winter? I believe that we have our winter now. But it is going to get warmer, but plenty of sunshine all weekend long here. So we do have our winner for the Doobie Brothers tickets for live at the Garden next Friday night. Cool thing that the Memphis Tiger football team is doing today. They're going to be over at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital doing a little tailgate party with the folks over there at Le Bonheur. Players, coaches, staff members will all be there. Going to have a little tailgate going on with the folks over at Le Bonheur. So that's a cool thing that they are doing. Ryan Silverfield, his staff, the whole team going to be over there. So really cool little gesture to go see the kids and the folks, their families, everybody else over there at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital coming up today with a little tailgate party for them. I'm sure that will brighten the day of a lot of those kids over there at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. That will wrap it up out for hour number 2. Coming up in hour number 3, lots of football talk. Pete Futak from collegefootballnews.com. Then Sean Merriman, the former NFL All-Pro linebacker, both coming up in hour number 3. It is Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Start your day the right way at La Palapa with the biggest, baddest breakfast burrito around. Chorizo, cheese, rice, beans, and eggs served with fresh salsa, and it's served all day. La Palapa has daily lunch specials, all served with rice and beans, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Try a torta, breaded chicken, steak, chorizo, or ham served with mayo, avocado, lettuce, tomato, and jalapenos, all in a hoagie. Plus amazing soups and dinner entrees, all at La Palapa, 5255 Summer Avenue. La Palapa, the little hut with big taste.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte PE 659,993, MSRP 22,540, Nero P 501,5237, MSRP 41,390, EV6 P 560,3393, MSRP 50,200, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax and license with approved credit. See dealer for details, offer valid through 9/5/23. Dealer stock only, warranties, a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
I got Jeff Allen on the line. Hey, what's the scoop over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Randy, we got deals everyone wants. How about 41 MPG Highway, 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $249 a month, $29.99 due at signing.
Hey, Jeff, give me some EV scoop.
2023 Nero EV win, 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $292 a month. And a 2023 Kia EV6 wins with up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGe. Only $425 a month, both $49.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty to boot.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Memphis attorneys. 6000 Poplar Avenue, Suite 225, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119.
Paid for by Cordell & Cordell.
Response to the all-new Genesis Diamonds has been incredible. People are loving what we brought to Memphis. Genesis is a different kind of jewelry store with more jewelry than you've ever seen in one place at prices you never thought possible. What's the Genesis secret? Out in the diamond industry in Tel Aviv. After selling wholesale to high-end jewelry retailers for years, he hated the insane markups they were getting away with. So he stopped selling to the stores and started selling direct to the public. That philosophy is still a core part of Genesis DNA as we continue to sell the highest quality diamonds at true no middleman direct importer prices. With international connections and massive buying power, Genesis has what it takes to beat anyone else's price every day on every diamond. Discover the Genesis difference, forever changing how people in Memphis buy diamonds and fine jewelry. Now open at Poplar & Perkins, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
Hewlett
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo Lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Sports 56 traffic.
We're still working an accident on Highway 385 west at Riverdale. The right lane is blocked there. Also, still working accident on Macon at Sycamore View. That's Macon at Sycamore View. And then new accident on Sea Isle at Ivy Road. That's Sea Isle at Ivy Road. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Witness the power.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, 9:02 here in the Family Leisure Studios. Welcome back in. It is hour number 3, final hour of the day, final hour of the week here on Sports 56 Mornings. Eli Savoy and Zach Boyd here. No Greg Gaston with us today. He'll be back on the program on Tuesday. This hour, we're going to talk a lot of football, and we start on the college front. Of course, so we are just over a week away now from actually having college football games, and nobody works harder, especially in the preseason, previewing the upcoming season with previews for each team and predictions for every game and other predictions, everything else than what Pete Futek does with collegefootballnews.com. He is the founder, the publisher at collegefootballnews.com. And Pete joins us now on the program. You can follow him on Twitter at Pete Futak. That's F-I-U-T-A-K. Pete, how are you doing, sir? Are you excited for football next week?
Kinda. I should be. This is like my whole life's a pre. It's like the test is coming and I haven't fully studied for the final yet. I could use another couple weeks just to kind of get ready, but I feel like that every year, and then it gets here and then I'm all jacked up for it. So, yeah, it's coming.
I don't know how you could say, it's amazing to me on your site how literally predictions for every game for every team. It's amazing all of the stuff that you guys have on there to prepare people for the season.
Yeah, it's also in the world of gambling now and all the online stuff that everyone does. It's the money's just as good as Akron as it is on Alabama. So it's a little bit of everything for everybody because there's always everything out there. But it's not like breaking rocks. I mean, it's not like it's a real job or anything. But it's a lot of fun, and now is when it really ramps up. They're like, okay, now we're really on. So this is when it starts to get fun for a big 3.5 month sprint here.
And I love the fact, too, like you write at the very top of your page right now, you have 5 totally wrong college football predictions, preseason version. I want to get into some of those here in a little bit, but I want to start with a few teams that certainly we care about here locally, and obviously one being right here in Memphis, the Memphis Tigers. And your preview of the Memphis Tigers, one of the things you talk about is they need to get back to, in this American Athletic Conference, they were left out of the Big 12, all of that stuff. They need to get back to the top of this American Athletic Conference. Now, you predict them, though, at 7-5, which I think for most fans around here would be a very disappointing season. I think most people here believe they should and need to win at least 8, if not more. But what do you think of the Tigers going into this season?
Yeah, they should win be in the American Athletic Conference championship mix now. I mean, that's and we have to make be sure we don't make the mistake of assuming that winning more games means they're closer to being expanded, closer to realignment. Because that's about business. That's about a whole slew of other parts. The football part helps because it gets people talking, but it's not like Tulane's closer just because they won the American Athletic Conference championship last year. But without Cincinnati, without Houston, without UCF, all of a sudden this is kind of it's a weakened conference, at least for the moment, until if they figure out how to get Mount West teams and align with them. And so, Memphis should be better. It should be a year where they should be at least, 8 wins to start and get in that mix. It is even with the easier schedule, easier conference, it is a relatively tough slate. They got a bunch of tough games to deal with. Tulane, SMU they're probably at the top of the American Athletic Conference mix, but Memphis, they should be right there. Because if you're the lone holdover, there is going to be that chip on the shoulder. It's like, hey, wait a minute here. Everyone else gets to go play varsity. We want to get there too. So there's going to be a bit of an attitude in the chip to the teams that weren't part of the Big 12 mix this year.
The schedule sets up well for them because most people, it seems like, believe that there's the 4 teams, Memphis, SMU, Tulane, and UTSA, that are the top 4 in the conference. Memphis doesn't play Texas San Antonio in the regular season, and they get both Tulane and SMU at home. So from a schedule standpoint, it sets up very well for them.
It should. So it sets up in a lot of good ways, but they got to take those games down because Tulane comes back loaded. They don't lose a lot, and they actually got some nice parts through the transfer portal. So if that team is able to keep it together, and that team, it might not do the exact same thing it did last year, but it's certainly going to be a dangerous team. And SMU did step up its game. So, there's those 4 teams that you mentioned, and then there's a drop because, look, the Conference USA teams that come in, they're okay. Florida Atlantic might be a little dangerous here, and there's another couple teams there that should be able to be able to fight their way through. But really, UTS is the star of that show that's coming over. And you're right, they don't have to play the Tigers.
What's your expectation, by the way, for UAB with Trent Dilfer in year 1 as a college coach?
I am really skeptical. I don't buy the act. It's a little too UAB was so good for so long and so consistent under Bill Clark, and they seem to try to mess with it a little bit. It's almost like they are playing for the idea of expansion, which shouldn't work. If Colorado can go with Deion Sanders and make a huge splash, which they needed to do because that's a 1-win team last year, and they needed to do something to kind of get splashy. But that really sort of cranked up the overall vibe of the school, and that did actually help in the expansion side of things because it changed the game for them. I'm guessing what's happening here is that UAB is thinking we need a high-profile coach who can talk, and if nothing else, Dilfer, for all his NFL history and everything, was a talking head. He is an ESPN and a Fox Sports analyst, and he knows how to give good speeches. And you need that coach sometimes to be the one who's out in front of everything, who's always the one who will be quoted, who will always be in the media spotlight. And I think they're trying to bring a bigger spotlight to UAB because they want the city of Birmingham wants to be able to sell the idea that this is a media market, an area that should be used for expansion. I will. You bring along a guy who does not have a lot of coaching experience. Coach Crime did crank it up at Jackson State for 2 years, proved himself. Trent Dilfer is a high-end high school coach for the most part, but we'll see. It's UAB expectations at that place now for what they've been able to do. If this doesn't work, there's going to be a lot of screaming from the fan base.
Another team right down the road from us with some pretty high expectations this year is the Ole Miss Rebels. And I was looking at the predictions on them, on their schedule. They've got the brutal task of having to play both at Alabama and at Georgia. But in the season predictions here, I see a win at Georgia and a 9-3 record for Ole Miss. So you like this Lane Kiffin team?
I love this Lane Kiffin team. you want to talk about using the transfer portal. They got about 1,000 quarterbacks coming in to try to mess around with Jackson Dart. Spencer Sanders, the former Oklahoma State quarterback, he's going to be able to push for that gig. They've got the running game, they've got the offense, and they've been good. It's been a good run under Kiffin. It gets lost in the mix that Ole Miss never really won anything for a long time. So this is a pretty strong era, considering, like you said, they got to play Alabama every year and LSU and all the SEC West teams. But I do think that this is a team that's going to be very, very dangerous. And that's when the timing of the schedule, where this comes. If Georgia's going to drop a game, if it's not Tennessee, it would be to Ole Miss. And on the right day, that offense should be able to light up just about anybody.
Talking with Pete Futek from collegefootballnews.com. You mentioned Tennessee. What the Vols, after a great year last year, you've got Joe Milton back at quarterback, and people believe he'll be improved from what he was a couple of years ago when he lost that starting job. But what do you think of Josh Heupel's squad and that high-powered offense this year?
Fun. It's not going to stop. I mean, it's still going to keep cranking up. It's still going to be one of those dangerous teams that on the right day can beat anybody. It can beat an Alabama. It can beat a Georgia if everything clicks, and it can beat anybody. But you still have to prove that the defense can hold up just enough to get by. And Milton has to prove that he can be consistent. He has all the tools: the big arm, he's got the experience. He knows how to play the position. He just has to be able to kind of have everything in the bag on like Hendon Hooker had. Hendon Hooker was a great player at Virginia Tech and always flew under the national radar. And last year was like, oh, yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he was always really good. Milton has been okay. He was supposed to be the starting quarterback at Michigan. He was supposed to be the starting quarterback at Tennessee. And then Hooker rose up after one game. And then now it's his time. So there's a whole lot. It's going to be a very, very good year. But for Tennessee, after you did that last year, now you're hoping to maybe catch lightning in the bottle and win the SEC East. I don't think that's happening, but they're certainly going to be very, very good again.
Mississippi State, obviously the unfortunate situation there with Mike Leach. You got the coaching change, Zach Arnett coming in. Obviously, it's a change in offensive philosophy, everything else. They had to go out to the transfer portal and try and bring in some tight ends and other things to fit the new offense. What do you see out of Zach Arnett's first year?
I think they're all right. I mean, someone's got to be in the bottom of the SEC West. I mean, every team there is very good. They're predicted to finish at the end, but they're going to be, I think, a little steadier and a little bit better, and they were pretty good over the last few years, even after the tragic loss of Mike Leach and everything. But it kind of gets lost in the Leach era, and I certainly don't mean to speak ill of anything, but it's not like they won a ton under Leach. It's not like Leach never got to a conference championship game in his whole career. So, he was good, but Arnett can build on this. Arnett can take all the things that were good there and build on. They're not going to have the exact type of high-flying offense, but that offense didn't push the ball down the field a lot. It was great at passing. It was great at doing the mid-range throws, but there really wasn't anything happening outside of the 5-yard dinks and dunks there. But you've got a good quarterback in Will Rogers. Leach did do a great job of getting the pieces in place, and Arnett gets to build off of that. And so I do think that this was supposed to be the year when everything we never knew under Leach, Washington State or Texas Tech, what would happen if he was able to recruit just a different caliber of player. And we were about to see that this year, and I think that's where Arnett can kind of take that and run.
Arkansas, to me, is intriguing because you got KJ Jefferson, who I like a lot. You've got Rocket Sanders in the backfield. I certainly like him a lot. But they have I think the worst stretch of a schedule of any team in America in the middle of their schedule when they go away from home for 4 straight at LSU, against A&M in Arlington, at Ole Miss, and at Alabama. Just a brutal stretch of scheduling. So how do you see this playing out for Arkansas?
Badly. That's not a good slate, and it stinks. And this is where, and when you saw this last year with Alabama, and you saw all the crying and whining about it this offseason, well, we're Alabama. We were one of the best teams in college football. Yeah, but if you lose 2 games, you're not going to get in the college playoff in its current configuration. It's the problem with the SEC, and Alabama found out what everybody else who's been really good over the last decade plus in the SEC finds out. You could be really awesome and have a mediocre record. And mediocre for Alabama being 10-2, but you could be 10-2, and you might as well be 6-6 because it means basically the same thing because someone else is going to be in the national championship picture from the SEC, and that's kind of Arkansas's problem where there's a hard ceiling on what they can do because they're not going to go 11-1, and they're too good to be 5-7 or miss out on a bowl game because there is a lot of talent there. You did mention the backfield, which you can make the argument that at least coming into the season, KJ Jefferson's probably the biggest national star at quarterback in the SEC because there's so many other unknowns. But yeah, it's going to be a rough run just because of that. But they'll still go bowling. They'll still have a winning record, and they're still going to be a dangerous team that can hang with anybody.
Pete Futek from collegefootballnews.com. Do you like LSU or Alabama in the West?
Alabama. Now you've made them mad, and that we've seen this over the years that, when you've got a coaching staff that's worth $25 million a year and you've got all the parts, the only thing missing is we're just not quite sure what Jalen Milroe or whoever the quarterback's going to be is going to be because they don't have Mac Jones. They don't have Bryce Young. They don't have Jalen Hurts. They don't have Tua. They don't have that caliber yet, at least one who's risen up and be able to look that part. So that's kind of been Alabama's kind of dipping a little bit because they don't have that, but they got everything else. I mean, that defense is going to be amazing. The offensive line is terrific, and it's still Alabama. So good luck trying to underestimate them. LSU's very, very, very good, and obviously they're right there, but LSU does have to go to Bama. So it's going to be a very good year. I know LSU's everyone's darling. I still think it's going to be Alabama, Georgia for the SEC championship.
I mentioned you have the article up, your 5 totally wrong college football predictions, preseason version. A couple of these I wanted to talk to you about. You like Auburn this year with Hugh Freeze coming in.
A lot. If you look at what they were last year, as bad as everything was, as horrible as the defense was, giving up 40 points per game on a regular basis over the second half of the season with the offense doing nothing, they were still 5-7 and really close to being 7-5-ish, 8-4, even in the Brian Harsin weird era. And now you get Hugh Freeze, who he way overrated by SEC fans because he beat Nick Saban in Alabama a couple times. And so in the legend of Hugh Freeze is that, he's a guy who won a bunch of national championships and stuff. But no, he didn't really win anything at Ole Miss. However, he is a very good head football coach. He was very good at Liberty when he was focused on that, not the Auburn job. But he was able to bring in talent. All of a sudden, you get Peyton Thorne, the Michigan State starting quarterback. You get a slew of other nice parts to just fill in with a good enough base where that's the tweak. Now, all of a sudden, the offense is going to work. So the offense that had the worst passing game in the SEC, all of a sudden it's not going to be Tennessee or anything, but it's going to be really good. The defensive front, the transfer portal boosted that up fast. So now you got a team with considering it's in the SEC West, has a relatively decent, manageable schedule, and I kind of see this being a team that should bounce back fast and be an 8-win team, maybe a 9-win team if it could beat Alabama at home to end the regular season.
Of course, our old coach here from Memphis, Mike Norvell, down at Florida State. High expectations, and you write here, Florida State will be great, but the season will be disappointing.
Yeah, I changed that headline like 5 different times so I didn't get yelled at too much. I am not buying it. I know they've got all this talent, and Norvell really did a great job through the transfer portal, but they're probably going to start 2-2. I mean, they start with LSU, and LSU's favored in that. I think the Tigers win that, and they got to go to Clemson. Clemson is absolutely loaded with NFL talent on the defensive side, and that's Clemson at Clemson. So Florida State's got the talent to win one or even both of those games, but they're more likely to be, 2-2 to start the season. And then there's a slew of dangerous little 9 games throughout there. I mean, they're better than everyone else on the schedule, but they could lose at Florida to end the regular season. They could have a bad day against the Wake Forest. I think the game at Pitt in early November is a big, giant problem for them. So for a team, I mean, it's about the expectations. They're going to have a great year overall, but now the bar is set. It's Florida State. They're supposed to be in the national championship and college football playoff hunt, and I think that could be wiped away pretty much after the first few weeks of the year.
One other one in there, you have Colorado and primetime, Coach Prime going bowling.
Look at who they got. I mean, it's not USC of last year where they got this high-end superstar talent. But that was always kind of the thing when it came to Deion, and I'm not sure why anybody else didn't figure this out first, is that at Jackson State, once with the transfer portal, once you hired Coach Prime, you were getting all his guys because the recruiting pitch was, I'm going to get a bigger gig. Mm-hmm. And when I do get that bigger gig, you'll be coming with me. So when he was recruiting Travis Hunter to get to Jackson State instead of Florida State, the idea was like maybe, he would be the head coach at Florida State and Hunter would follow him over. So now you get a guy like that who might be the best corner in the country and he's going to play a little wide receiver too. Now he's at Colorado. Shedeur Sanders, Deion's son, is an NFL starting quarterback eventually. They picked and choose from the transfer portal because everyone wanted to be a part of this program once Deion took it over. And so you've got kind of a really good mishmash of starting Power 5 players and talents who are ready to kind of come together. The only problem is the 2 deep is pretty much all transfers. I mean, there really wasn't a base to work off of. USC at least had guys last year. They just need to fill in a whole lot of gaps and upgrade. Colorado's starting over again. But let's see how this works, because talent-wise, they've got enough. They can hang with TCU to start the season. They could beat Nebraska. They could beat an Arizona. They'll probably beat a Stanford. And there's just enough there where if they can pull off one upset somewhere along the way, they might get to 6 wins.
You have 2 Big Ten teams in the playoff, Michigan and Ohio State, along with Georgia and USC. Who do you believe will win it all? Who do you believe is the best team in the country right now?
It's really boring. I mean, Georgia's the best team in the country. I mean, they get everyone back except Stetson Bennett, basically. That was the scary part about last year's squad, is that they were so young. Mm-hmm. But also gets kind of lost in the recent history. If Noah Ruggles, the Ohio State kicker, doesn't yank that 50-yarder into the lumber yard, I mean, he had a 44-yarder earlier. He could have hit that. Then Ohio State wins the national championship. They go on. They're the ones who are crushing TCU. Now, same sort of thing, kind of like Alabama. When you get that motivation behind this program, things happen. And the motivation is they've lost to Michigan twice. I think they're going to lose to Michigan a 3rd straight time. But I can't. I know it's a boring call because I'm not making some wild and wacky, prediction. But I do kind of just see it. If you see how the schedule should play out, it should come down to Michigan and Ohio State again. I do think Michigan loses once along the way, and if Michigan can beat Ohio State again and do it at home, I think both those teams get back in. Georgia, if Georgia doesn't get in the college football playoff, I mean, you're just trying to be kind of wacky if you're not picking them because they're just that good. And USC, look, if Caleb Williams doesn't hurt that hamstring against Utah in the Pac-12 championship last year, it's not a lock they win that because Utah was playing well, but it's certainly in there. And if they win that game, they would have been in a college football playoff, and Ohio State would have been out. So their defense was upgraded in a huge way through the transfer portal. Caleb's not going to have to do quite as much to carry the team. The offense is still going to be great. And as good as the Pac-12 is this year, USC should be able to rise up above the fray.
He is Pete Futak, the website collegefootballnews.com. If you want to see a preview for your team, whatever that team might be, they've got it up there for you. He's got every team, predictions on every game, everything you can imagine in the world of college football to get you ready for the year at collegefootballnews.com and then throughout the season as well. You can follow him on Twitter at Pete Futak. That's Fiutak. Pete, as always, we appreciate it, man, and hopefully we can do this again a few times throughout the season.
Anytime. You have a great one.
Thank you. Pete Futak joining us here on Sports 56 Mornings. I'm telling you, that website, it's amazing how much stuff they have. And again, literally predictions for every game for every team in the country. But he has the Tigers at 7-5. Tiger fans would not be satisfied with 7-5. He has them losing to both Missouri and Boise State in the non-conference. Then I actually think he has them losing to UAB in conference play and I can't remember what the other losses were in conference play. But if those projections are right, there will be some Tiger fans will not be happy. That is for sure. When we come back, we're going to shift gears, talk a little NFL, along with some MMA. Sean Merriman, the former All-Pro linebacker, who is the owner of Lights Out Extreme Fighting, got an event coming up. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk some NFL football with the former All-Pro when we return here. Sports 56 Mornings live in the Family Leisure Studios on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Hey folks, Ryan McElroy here with Sunrise Buick GMC. I know the temps are going up, but the prices are dropping here at the Sunrise Super Summer Sale. Huge selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Discounts up to $6,500 and a $12 million used car inventory. If you're not 100% happy with your car, don't pay another penny on it. Top dollar for trade-ins, or we'll just buy it from you. Bad credit, slow pay, bankruptcy, it's okay at Sunrise. Call, click, or come on in to any of the 3 Sunrise locations here in town. Covenant Pike, Wolf Chase, or Carnival, come check us out at sunrisememphis.com. We make it fun to buy a car.
What happens to former real estate agents when they want to sell their homes? This is Sheldon Rosengarten, actually Shell Dunn, with Mark Spensdorf Realtors. I am so proud and feel so honored when former real estate agents contact me when they want to sell their homes. They know that I've been in the business for quite a while, have a great deal of experience, and know that I am good at marketing, not merely putting a sign in the yard and hoping it sells. Over the years, I have developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when. Talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure that I am one of them. So if you or someone you know is thinking about selling a home, remember what other real estate agents who have been in the business do. They call me, Shell Dunn Rosengarten, at 483-0546, or email me at memphisrelocate.com. I will wait to hear from you to take advantage of this good market. That's 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Thank you.
Memphis Public Links has so much going on right now. Audubon is right around the fairway. Wait until you see when this thing is a finished product. Fox Meadows is in great shape. The links at Pine Hill is now a masterpiece of a place to play, as are really all the other Memphis public golf courses. And by the way, folks, it's so easy to make a tee time. You go online to memphispubliclinks.com, select your course, then grab your tee time. Also, on the website is a schedule of upcoming events. There you'll find something that will interest you, but I'll tell you about a couple of things coming up right now. August the 25th. The championship at Fox Meadows. Cost is $50. It's open to the first 100 amateur players. There will be divisions for regular, senior, ladies. The format is 18 holes of stroke competition. Again, if you want to book a tee time or find out more about tournaments or other events at any of the great Memphis public golf courses, go online to memphispubliclinks.com. There's better play every day on the Memphis Public Links.
Hotsy Pressure Washers and Detail Supplies of Memphis takes it all off. They are the #1 cleaning and equipment provider, period. Big or small, Hotsy has the solution. From hot water and cold water pressure washers to industrial soaps and detail supplies, Hotsy has you covered. For our Sports 56 fans, you get 20% off all detail products, so don't miss out on this amazing deal. Call Hotsy today, 901-379-0550, or visit their showroom, conveniently located at Austin P and I-40.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte PE 659,993, MSRP 22,540, Nero P 501,5237, MSRP 41,390, EV6 P 560,3393, MSRP 50,200, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax and license with approved credit. See dealer for details, offer valid through 9/5/23. Dealer stock only, warranties are limited, powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
I got Jeff Allen on the line. Hey, what's the scoop over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Randy, we got deals everyone wants. How about 41 MPG Highway, 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $249 a month, $29.99 due at signing.
Hey, Jeff, give me some EV scoop
DeBoot. 2023 Nero EV Win, 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $292 a month. And a 2023 Kia EV6 Win with up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGe. Only $425 a month, both $49.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty to boot.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Okay, this car looks great wrapped around you,
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
9:31 here in the Family Leisure Studios. Final half hour of the week for us on Sports 56 Mornings. Eli Savoy and Zach Boyd here. No Greg Gaston with us today. He'll be back on the program next week on Tuesday. Right now, we're going to talk some more football. We're also going to talk some MMA as well. He's joined us before. Sean Merriman is the former All-Pro linebacker for the San Diego Chargers and the Buffalo Bills. And now he is the owner of Lights Out Extreme Fighting, and they've got another event coming up next weekend. And Sean joins us once again on the program. Sean, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, my man. How are you?
Doing fantastic. I mentioned another big event, Lights Out 10, coming up next Saturday. You can watch it live on Fubo Sports. Tell us about the card and the event.
Yeah, we got a huge fight next Saturday. It'll be in San Diego. But you guys can catch us. Lights Out Extreme Fighting 10 is coming up August 26th. We'll be live on Fubo TV, Fubo Sports. If you don't have Fubo, get it. But we have the next up-and-coming superstars in the sport, man. I think it's great. I've been around this sport for 17 years, training during the off-seasons, even when I was playing football, and launched Lights Out Extreme Fighting some years ago and moved in the top 5 most watched in football sports. So it's been a fun ride.
That's great. And again, this is the 10th one here of these events. And could you tell us a little bit about a couple of the fighters on this card that we need to be watching out for?
Yeah, we have some former, Jared Vandera. He's a former UFC guy. We just added him on to our main event, found him a great opponent. Matthias, another guy. We have about 3 guys here that's probably headed to, the contender show for Dana White right after the UFC. These guys have contracts, and it's great because when you're pulling talent that way, it shows us that we have next up and coming superstars. Man, it's give these guys some eyeballs, and me making that transition from the NFL to MMA has been pretty cool.
You obviously you put on these events, and that gives UFC chance to see these guys. How do you find your new talent?
Well, it's really locally, these local gyms. Myself, being around the sport for 17 years, I've trained in probably 30 gyms in this country myself. And so, you got some really good gyms out there in Tennessee. There's a lot of pockets of MMA, a lot of fighters. So we love to bring a fight out that way at some point in time. And, for me, man, it's just getting these local gyms. A lot of the former all-time great MMA fighters, they're coaches now. These guys that were superstars in the sport are now coaches and have their teams. So I'm pretty close relationship. I can just reach out to them and say, hey, who you got that's upcoming that I need to see? And they kind of hand the guys over. So it's been cool.
That is really cool. So you've been out of the NFL for a little while now, but this time of year when training camps are going on, do you think, man, I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore?
Yeah, until training camp is over. I think I think when you're after your 3rd or 4th year, you just want to get to the season, right? A lot of the training camp, I believe, is for dress rehearsal for the young guys, the coaches, new coaching staff. It's just get used to the regimen, the timing, getting on and off the field, special teams, waking up at the same time. Film. You want to get a nice flow going, but when you get past your 3rd or 4th year, you've been there, you've done that. You know the playbook, you know the speed of the game. You learn how to prepare and use training camp as preparation as opposed to getting ready for the season.
Sean Merriman joined us, the former All-Pro linebacker. I did want to ask you, this kind of ties your both things together. The other day, the Cowboys, Micah Parsons got into a fight at training camp. We see these things happen. Especially in these combined practices, we see it a lot. But when it's your own team, a fight in training camp, good, bad, does it matter at all?
Well, for a coach, you don't want to promote it, right? I get it. You don't want to promote it and say, hey, guys, fight. But at the same time, I look at it as there's no fights in training camp. There's probably a problem. There's, a little bit of an issue because, look, at the end of the day, guys are competing and they're fighting for a job. They're fighting for a position. They're fighting for their families and like every day is a fight because you're trying to either make the team or advance your situation for a better contract. And just tempers, man. You're seeing the same guy every single day in the cafeteria, in the weight room, in the film room. There's bound to be a fight, and so I just don't look too far into fights in training camp because you expect it. These guys are battling for a position.
When we're in training camp, could you see them brewing? Like you're like, oh, these two guys. Eventually, this is all going to go down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, myself, I was good for one fight at training camp. That was just going to happen. And what ended up happening is, look, you're mentally drained. You're physically drained. You're beat up. Your body's kind of breaking down on you. And you start playing tricks on, hey, am I good? Am I bad? Let me watch the film. And then all of it takes is the offensive lineman, just a little shove after the play because the tempers are high. And then there you go. I get it. I saw Andy Reid come out a few weeks ago when Travis Kelce had a couple fights during camp and said, hey, we don't want to do that. So, yeah, as a coach, you don't want to promote it. But at the same time, I would be more concerned if we had no fights during training camp.
What is it about you NFL players, or football players as a whole, that when you, throw a punch at a guy who's wearing a helmet?
Dumb. I mean, just – because, at the end of the day, and one of the fights I was kind of joking about that I've been in, I have done that. But thank God, one of the offensive linemen pushed me and I just fell right over. I swung and missed, right? I mean, it just, you don't think that far ahead. And before you know it, someone with a broken hand or whatever. So, you hate to see those things happen. You hate to see fights in camp. It does slow down practice. It changes the momentum. And it's a distraction. But also, too, you want your guys competing, and sometimes in a battle and competition and competing, tempers are going to flare, and it's just a part of the game.
Sean Merriman joining us. When you were playing, did you guys do the joint practices like with the other team?
No, and I'm glad we didn't.
So you would not have liked that?
Me personally, it would have been nice to go against somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that, like I said before, a lot of guys, including myself, use training camp to prepare for the season. And I'm so competitive that, I would have been in game mode the whole time. Well, my body's not just ready. That's just me personally. I do rather the joint practices than preseason games. I do rather that because preseason games to me is after you have one or two is a waste. So you do it at a point, want to see a different color helmet. You want to compete against somebody that's not your teammate. But for me, not being ready in camp and trying to perform like it's game mode, I mean, I don't think that it would have gone that well.
Were any of your teams ever feature on Hard Knocks?
No.
Would you have liked that? Would you have wanted those cameras around all the time?
I don't. I don't mind it. And I know some guys don't like it, and I get that. They want privacy. They don't want the interruption in practice. But I'll give an example here. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets didn't want it there, but I think that we all, the public, is seeing Aaron Rodgers in a different light, right? He's a great teammate. He's helped out Zach Wilson so much. He's likable, and not these sound bites. And I think that a lot of people are just getting a different perception of Aaron Rodgers because of Hard Knocks. And, the coach and other people around, they're seeing a progression of Zach Wilson and him actually going out and making plays in preseason and playing better attitude in practice. So I get it. Guys want the privacy, right? But I also believe it's important for the public to kind of know who you are under that helmet a little bit. That helps.
And it seems like every year the people kind of fall in love with the team on Hard Knocks and have high expectations for them. Obviously, the Jets have very high expectations this year. Now they've gone out and added Dalvin Cook in the backfield as well. Do you really like this Jets team, and where do you think they fit in a stacked AFC?
I think they. I won't sit up here and say they're going to win the division. That division just got better all the way around, and it's reversed, right? Because now the worst team in that division is the Patriots.
Yeah, exactly,
they've been the best for 2 decades. And that's what happens. And you know, we talk about the AFC East and the Bills and just that division in general. They've gotten better, right? So the Patriots aren't dominant anymore. The Bills are kind of getting slightly even with the Jets and Miami. Like there's an even kill across that division now that wasn't there for the last 2 decades.
And that's not even and that's just within that division. Then you throw in the, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. And by the way, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, the AFC, just the list of quarterbacks alone make it brutal.
Well, I was talking to somebody the other day about, all the great teams we had in the mid-2000s with the Chargers and why we didn't win the Super Bowl. Well, we had to see Ben Roethlisberger. We had to see Peyton Manning. We had to see Tom Brady. 3 great quarterbacks in order just to get there. Now, if you look at AFC, to your point, there's 6 quarterbacks that's willing and capable of going out and causing problems on your road to getting the Super Bowl. And so when you look at that AFC division in general, it's just stacked. The road to get a championship is much harder than it's ever been in the last, 10, 15 years.
And that's what, like your former team, the Chargers. I mean, Justin Herbert's a heck of a quarterback, and they've got a ton of talent offensively. I mean, that's a really good team. But then you just stack it up against the rest, and you're like, man, oh man, this is just absolutely it's a dogfight. And it's hard to try and emerge from that.
Well, you always got to put the defending champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, up there, right? They're the target. They're the big dog. You got to take the throne from them before you can talk about anyone else. Even though I'm a Chargers for life, and I think the world of Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, all these guys. But at the end of the day, until someone dethroned the Kansas City Chiefs, it's really them to lose.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about that. Shawn Merriman joining us. One final thing for you. I don't think I've ever asked you when you've been on this. One of my favorite shows is The Challenge. And you were on The Challenge when it was the pros versus champs or whatever that was called, right?
Yeah, the pros versus champs.
What was that experience like?
It was wild. One of my favorite guys now is Johnny Bananas, and he's just outrageous and love being around him. He is everything he is advertised on TV. I'll tell you that. But just the whole point of competing and things I'm not that great at was fun. So for me, I had a really good time, but man, it was some courses on there that I wasn't expecting. One of them being almost, losing my life on live television and the ketchup and mustard rolling in it. I don't know if you guys remember that. But that was a tough one to do, especially live on TV. But I enjoyed it, man. I had a great time, and I wouldn't mind going back.
Yeah, it's a little different than football or even MMA. Yeah, they challenge you with some different things on that show that there's no way of really preparing yourself for it.
No, not at all. And trust me, I was not prepared. I had a great time now, but that show is pretty tough.
No doubt about it. He is Shawn Merriman, the All-Pro linebacker. Again, Lights Out 10 coming up next Saturday night, a week from tomorrow on Fubo TV, Fubo Sports. In what time is that going to be here, Central Time?
Yep, it'll be 7 p.m. Pacific, so 9 p.m. You guys' time will be live on Fubo, live on Fubo Sports, Fubo TV. If you guys don't have Fubo, get it. They got a bunch of cool programs on there. And we got the next up-and-coming superstars, so make sure you tune in.
It is Lights Out 10 next Saturday night, again, on Fubo TV. He is Shawn Merriman. Shawn, as always, man, really enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Shawn Merriman joining us from out in California. He was up early today, by the way, because he's out west in California.
Oh, yeah.
I tweeted what was coming up on the show at like 6:50 this morning Central Time. And now, unless he has somebody else running his social media, he retweeted it like immediately. So that would have been at 4:50 his time this morning that he was retweeting my tweet.
He also he is a former athlete, so he probably still stuck into his football routine as well.
What he does, like, Shawn Merriman already retweeted the thing. What are you kidding me? Like, what the hell's he doing up? Now, again, maybe he has somebody else running his social media account, and that's what he did. But I was like, that was the last person I was expecting to see retweet this thing at 6:50 our time this morning. Hey, folks, moving can be stressful, but if you get the right professionals, the right people to help you, well, that will take a lot of that stress and worry out of the process. And Black Tie Moving, that's the company. Those are the people. Those are the ones you want helping you with your move. Whether you're moving your home, your office, whatever it is, if it's across town, if it's across country, wherever you're going. You want to make sure your belongings get where they're going and you don't have any headaches along the way. And that's what Black Tie Moving provides for you. All you got to do is give them a call, 901-316-6196, or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Talk with them. They come up with a plan with you, fitting your needs and fitting your budget as well. Give you a no obligation quote up front so you know exactly what it's going to cost. There are no surprises or anything like that when it comes to the folks at Black Tie Moving. They even have a moving concierge who's available to you 24/7 during the process to make sure that if you have any questions or anything that comes up, you can get a hold of them and get those questions answered immediately. They're going to make sure your stuff gets where it's going without any issues whatsoever. Again, it's Black Tie Moving, 901-316-6196, or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Back to wrap it up on this Friday, right after this, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place, the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
The Gossett Mitsubishi Summer Sales Event is still going strong at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Whatever vehicle needs you may be wishing for, we've got you covered at Gossett Mitsubishi. 41 MPG highway that can turn on a dime, that's 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $17,395 or $249 a month. 2024 Eclipse Cross combines luxurious styling with cutting-edge technology, generous cargo room, and versatility, $29,100 or $399 a month. And the powerful and fun-to-drive 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander, $29,580 or $499 a month. And you'll always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate, G4 PH 006839, MSRP 17,895, Cross RZ 00688, MSRP 29,850, Outlander PZO 59,809, MSRP 30,080, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Who's squeezing in one last getaway this summer? Before you take off, protect your home with Simply Safe's new 24/7 Live Guard protection. If an intruder breaks in, Simply Safe monitoring agents can see, speak to, and deter, warning them police are on the way. Right now, my listeners get a special 20% off any Simply Safe system when you sign up for free and a free month at Fast Protect Monitoring. This special offer limited time only. Visit simplysafecolin.com. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Kick your hiring process into hyper gear with Indeed, the hiring solution that helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
The football season is almost here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders. There's so many bets that you can get involved in on FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com/Gasman and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/Gasman. You must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Max bonus $50 unless specified otherwise. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Get them to sign on the line which is dotted.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Gonna put the world away for a minute.
Back here in the Family Leisure Studios, 9:51 the time, our final segment of the week. Turn it over to Dave Woloshin, Wolo and Friends, coming up next here on Sport 56 and 98.5 FM. A couple of things to get to. A texter texted in talking about the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Says, I know Dak threw 15 interceptions last year when he was only thrown 50 in his prior 6 seasons. Could his recovery from the broken thumb on his throwing hand been a factor in the high interceptions? Because theoretically it could have been. I don't think it was. Some of them were some bad. There were some few that were like deflected passes, but Dak just threw some bad passes, misread some defenses, and tried to force some things that weren't there, and it led to some interceptions. He's got to be much better this year because they just can't afford to turn the ball over like that. And now, again, it's a different offensive coordinator, as Mike McCarthy will be calling the plays himself. Kellen Moore out in L.A. with the Chargers, which, by the way, I think Justin Herbert will have a huge year statistically under Kellen Moore. With offensive weapons they've got at receiver, and as much as Moore likes to throw the ball and throw the ball downfield, Justin Herbert, I think, will have a massive fantasy football season.
I agree. A number one offense, but 500 records.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, again, they're in a division's tough. It's all that, but I think Kellen Moore will lead to Justin Herbert putting up some massive numbers out there. Speaking of fantasy football, the way Sigmund Bloom, who used to be on the show for years upon years, and when I moved to the mornings, it just doesn't work out schedule-wise for him to be with us weekly. But on Monday, he is going to be able to come on. We're going to talk fantasy football draft, because the drafts are happening. Those fantasy football drafts are starting to happen. And so Sigmund we're going to try and get him on a couple of times here in the preseason to at least talk drafts and help you through your fantasy football drafts. And Monday, he will be on the program to talk a little bit about that. Round number 2 of the BMW Championship, the second leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs, underway up in Chicago. Chris Kirk is 100 today through 3 holes. That moves him to a tie for first place, with the 2 overnight leaders being Rory McIlroy and Brian Harman. They both shot 5 under 65s yesterday to tie for the lead. So you now have 3 guys at 5 under. Cameron Young, Wyndham Clark, Scotty Scheffler, Ricky Fowler, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Sahith Theegala are all at 4 under par in that one. Again, that's the top 50 that advanced from Memphis up to Chicago for leg number 2 of the FedEx Cup playoffs. The top 30 from there will advance on to Atlanta and the Tour Championship coming up next week. This hour of our program is brought to you by Acura of Memphis. Ridgeway and 385, online, AcuraMemphis.com. Again, we've got beautiful weather. Anytime's a good time, but when you get beautiful weather like this, great time just because you can go walk around the lot, check things out. Beautiful day. You're going to find some beautiful automobiles, from new vehicles, pre-owned vehicles, certified pre-owned Acuras. You can check them all out. Take a test drive in one of those beautiful automobiles. Talk to the great folks at Acura of Memphis. Always a great car buying experience. That's what they're going to give you every single time, and you know you're going to get a great car as well from Acura of Memphis. You can also go online and get a lot of information about all the different models of Acuras, the inventory of pre-owned vehicles, all of that stuff. You can find that online at AcuraOfMemphis.com. But nothing beats the in-person experience you get when you go see the folks at Acura of Memphis. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Messi in Nashville. It is the League's Cup final. Messi has scored in every game he has played. 6 goals in a row, or 6 games in a row he has scored. He's got 9 goals overall in the 6 games. And they will play Nashville SC tomorrow night in Nashville for the championship of the League's Cup. And so we'll see if he can continue his streak of scoring in every single game for Inter Miami. I want to say a big thank you to John Varlas. And again, don't forget, high school football all over the area tonight, week number 1 of the season. I'll be out at Christian Brothers as they take on White Station. I'll have the broadcast there on their website, cbhs.org. You can go there and watch the game on their YouTube channel with our live stream. John Varlas will be out there. We're keeping you updated on all of the high school football action from around the area on Twitter at John Varlas. But thanks to John, thanks to Rob Fisher, thanks to Pete Futak, and thanks to Sean Merriman, all for joining us today on the program. We'll be back here Monday morning, bright and early at 7 a.m. to recap the sports weekend. And again, Sigmund Bloom will join us. And I think we're going to have another guest as well coming up on Monday. Again, stay tuned. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming your way next. For Zach Boyd, I'm Eli Savoy. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.